Hello, hello. Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot, and today, of course, a very exciting live stream. We are going to get to try out, of course, a very exciting live stream. We are going to get to try out. Right, was that again? Yes, very exciting. We are going to be flying the ToLiss / Aerosoft A340-600 Pro for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and 2020. I am today in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. My volume's gone down as well. Let me sort that out for you. Sorry about this. I don't know how that has happened. But the microphone on my computer has been turned right down for some strange reason. So let me try this. That's too loud. Okay, we'll get there. Something like this. Okay. So let me know if that's any better. And we'll start again. Okay. Right, welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. I promise I do live streams relatively regularly, and I have done for a few years despite that start. But what we're going to do today is take a preview version of the ToLiss A340-600 for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and 2020. I've got the 2024 version here, although they are very similar. It is a version that works in both. This is not a native 2024 version at the moment, but it does have obviously some 2024 features. Yes, Papa, hello, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Dougal, up more. Okay, I can still do more on my volume. Let's try that. I don't know what's happened. I haven't changed anything in my computer, but it seems to have decided to drop the microphone volume right down. Okay, let's see if it gets any better. I can keep turning it up. I just don't want to deafen everyone, which of course it is very easy to do when streaming. So let's go a little bit more. Let's try that. Yeah, so this is an aircraft that's very anticipated. It's the ToLiss's first foray into Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are on this channel, we're used to the ToLiss aircraft because I'm not sure if everyone here will know, but I started my channel using ToLiss aircraft. It was the ToLiss A321 in X-Plane 11 at the time, and they subsequently made several more aircraft, including the A340-600 in X-Plane, and they've always been excellent. And I did a video in the X-Plane one not that long ago because it is a really it's a detailed simulation of the aircraft. ToLiss has even been used by Airbus subsequently since then. That's how good their system simulation is, and the way they set up their aircraft is so impressive, and you'll see why in the way that it's just designed for you to use it for flight simming. It's really fantastic. So Aerosoft have done the visuals. I did ask specifically this question: what is done by ToLiss and what is done by Aerosoft? Because it's not often we see collaborations in the Microsoft or in flight simulation in general. So ToLiss did all of the systems and the flight model, and so all systems, flight model, and engine model are from ToLiss, and the visuals are all from Aerosoft. So there you go. And I've asked some questions directly to ToLiss. They've given us some great answers as to how they ended up with this collaboration and why it exists, which I can give you as we get going. So what we're going to do today is not quite my normal stream. I do have a flight plan, but we're not going to start off on VATSIM. We're in Toulouse. Which I don't think I even wrote that in the title of the video, because what we're going to do is I want to show you this aircraft and the ToLiss simulation on its own first. So we're going to do some failures, which we don't normally do. I don't normally even preview aircraft on live streams. I tend to make videos with them, but I'll do the video later. I just wanted to show you some things live. I thought it'd be good fun. We have some really clever features on this aircraft. Its simulation of failures is second to none. Its ability to then save a situation or reload it is also second to none, and it has a fantastic flight model. So we're going to put all those things together. We're going to try out engine failures on takeoff. We're going to be able to reload ourselves without having to close the sim and restart the flight. I'm hoping if all goes well, we'll be able to just put it back at the side of the runway. Now, ready to go. And that includes fuel, flight plans, everything. It's very quick. And this is how commercial airline pilots are trained. Commercial aircraft, commercial simulators are very good at maneuvering around the sky, repositioning, and just telling it what information you want to give it. Whereas in Flight Simulator, traditionally, we've been a bit sort of stuck with having to just reload the whole flight and things like that. So we'll do a full cold and dark setup just to give you a taste of the aircraft, obviously, and then we will move along to the takeoff point, and then I can save it there, and then we can try all sorts of things. I want to show you the flight model, I want to show you the landing, and then we'll set off on our do a reset from the side of the runway ready to go, and then take off and head up to Heathrow and do a delivery flight. And that's not uncommon for what pilots do when they go and pick up these aircraft new from the factory, as you would do if you're picking up your brand new A340 from ToLiss. The A340, though, it's an old airplane now, launched in 1997, so it's not that old. There are older 777s flying around, but it unfortunately, obviously, fell foul of the ETOPS rule, so it didn't need 4 engines for long after this aircraft came out, and the 777-300 came along and sort of ate up its entire market. It is a big, heavy airplane, the longest airplane in the world at the time, the longest commercial aircraft, 75 meters. Subsequently, it's been beaten by the 747-8i Intercontinental, but it was a very long airplane. 63-meter wingspan, which puts it in line with most modern aircraft today, A350, 777, and 747. So big wings and 4 Trent 500 engines, only available with the Trent 500, unusually for an Airbus. So Rolls-Royce engines. And yeah, 380 tons max takeoff weight makes it very heavy, considering it doesn't actually carry that many more passengers than a 777, and a little bit slow. Cruises at Mach decimal 82, faster than a 320, but a little bit slower than a 777, and certainly slower than a 787 or a A350. Okay, let us now hop into the aircraft. And again, keep the feedback coming in terms of sound and how that's going for you. Unfortunately, this truck has already clipped into our brand new airplane's wing, but that's fine. So first of all, we can start on the outside of the aircraft. So this is a preview build. So yeah, it is not entirely complete yet. ToLiss have been working hard, and I want to make a full disclaimer that I was originally... I was included in a slightly early preview build of this aircraft along with a few other creators, and was able to give some feedback on a very late stage beta of this aircraft. So I have I'm not paid, I'm not involved, I'm not sponsored, but I have had a little go with this aircraft already, and given little bits of feedback here and there, which not all of which has been incorporated, or other people have had better ideas. So yeah, it's just to let you know that I have seen this aircraft already. This is not my first day with it. So as we walk around, you'll see it is ridiculously long. The wings are way far back there. And as we go around, you'll see just a bit of the exterior modelling. So nose gear, big heavy nose gear. It always amazes me that these huge airplanes that have loads of main landing gear only have 2 little nose gears. This also has extra wheels compared to the A340-2 and 300 to support the extra weight. But there you go, nose gear. These little black marks I have spoken about. I think they are a little bit over the top, but yeah, they are meant to show sort of grease marks, which you do get on aircraft, but not quite all over the place like that. But I like I say, I've mentioned some things. You've got all your pitos and statics at the front here. Quite low down on this aircraft. Ice detectors as well, which is pretty good. And this is Lady Luck, airborne. I loved when Virgin Atlantic do this, airborne, February 2006. I think that's quite a nice clever play on words. And then we have to walk miles down the fuselage. So no release date yet on this aircraft. It is in the works, but I think they're still waiting to make sure that everything is working well and ready to go. We'll see more of the texturing and visual model as we get up into the air. The lighting on the ground, certainly on this side, is not always that great. It is interesting that these pack inlets, these are the pack inlets for the air conditioning packs, I believe, anyway, they are surprisingly small. But they are like that on the real aircraft. I did have a look to make sure. I thought those look tiny compared to what you see on the Boeings, but there we go. And 4 big engines, 4 Trent 500 engines. Ticking away, and there is a little, yeah, there is the fan tick. I hope you can hear that. You will see the cockpit very shortly. We've got lots of time in this airplane, don't worry. We'll be taking it for a lot of flying, and we're going to do all the failures and so on. Like I say, unusually, I don't normally stream that on the channel, but I thought it'd be fun. And it's quite interesting to see an engine failure on takeoff in a 4-engine aircraft. They have a lot of, they only lose a quarter of their power, of course, which makes them very nice in that sense. ETOPS regulations came in, which meant that you didn't need 4 engines to fly a long distance away. So this aircraft was soon found itself without much of a market. 2 ailerons, the outboard ailerons at high speed will lock out and just go straight, and the inboard ones will be the ones that it uses in the cruise. Out to the winglets, classic proper winglet design. And you can see the 2 actuators to control each half of the aileron. So a lot of redundancy. This is a long-haul aircraft. Long-haul machines are designed for failures, so that they should be able to carry on, because you can't really divert over the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And remember, although it's not an ETOPS aeroplane, it is still a long-haul aeroplane. So they do need that option to carry on. Really, you don't want it to have to divert all the time. This is the fuel dumping nozzle. So that's so that the aircraft can return and land quicker if it needs to, without being over max landing weight. You can land airliners over max landing weight, but there is a small performance risk it may not fit, and larger, there's a structural risk that it could damage or bend something on the airplane. Modern aircraft these days, though, I don't think they need much of an inspection. They tend to be quite good at landing overweight anyway, but you know, better safe than sorry, as always. But you're seeing it that this is actually becoming an option on aircraft in this year. Sorry if I hadn't said hello in chat. There's a lot of people say hello too, so I will just run a quick. Let's get through the outside and then get into the airplane, and we'll say hello if I get the chance. But I think I just want to keep the stream rolling today because we've got quite a lot to get through. So yeah, just 4, so 12 main landing gear, and this landing gear folds up in the most bizarre way. You'll see it on takeoff. It folds up forwards and sort of upside down. Absolutely amazing piece of engineering they had to go to get that to fit. I've spoken to an A340-600 pilot once, and I remember them commenting on the fact that you had to land this airplane twice. First the outboards and then the inboard gear separately, and you'll see they're all at different angles, but there we go. Like I say, I think there's quite a lot of these streaks. As we move back down the fuselage, more doors. V-Win, I like the reg as well. And around the tail. The airplane is cold and dark. We'll do a full cold and dark setup, which is not too strenuous in an A340, because it's very, very similar to an A320, as so many of these are. Our route today, if you put exclamation mark route, the cloud bot should come to life and let you know what we're going to do. But like I say, we're going to start off hanging around Toulouse, flying the airplane, showing you all its cool features. Because like I say, this is a simulator's aircraft, this add-on. It has got some features that make it really really valuable. Its autosave and state save is remarkable. So there we are, but that's the route we'll fly once we do get going. Around to the right side now, so no ground vehicles included. I've tried that in the FB, but you can open the doors and so on, but yeah, and I don't think they're not clickable, so that's what I mean. This is not the 2024 version, although it is compatible with 2024. That's my understanding. Huge long tail, huge risk of a tail strike on this aircraft, and they were so worried about it that it automatically puts in the pitch trim when you start the engines, and we'll see that today. Yeah, because the chance of scraping this, my goodness, absolutely ridiculous fuselage. It goes on forever. This is compatible with 2020. It is absolutely. I've flown it in both simulators. I will make a video on this as well. Yeah, so I don't want to take you too far around the other side, but there you go. That's a bit of a walk around the exterior, the visual model. They've got all the proportions right, and like I say, visual model done by Aerosoft. Oh, apologies. There we go. Right, so let's hop into the aircraft. It is, like I say, it is longer than a 777-300, but not much longer. But it is longer. It's just outrageously long. But it looks even longer than it should, because the fuselage is narrower than a 777s. 777s are quite chunky, so that's one of the reasons it has this illusion of being so outrageously long. And as a result, it needs a taxi camera, which we will see, which does actually work in this aircraft as well. So into the flight deck, he says. Excellent. There we go. Right. We are now on the flight deck of the A340, and it won't surprise you to see that this is almost identical to the A320. There's very few giveaways that it is not an A320. This is a standardization that Airbus did in order to make sure that you could have as many type ratings or pilot swapping between aircraft as quickly and easily as possible. We have an EFB over here on the left with lots of features, which I'm going to show you different things on. But those of you familiar with ToLiss will see that this is actually very similar to what we had before in X-Plane. There's little Easter eggs as well, little IDs and coffee cups and things spring up, and you can do your noise cancelling through this, so that's nice. Yeah, it is nice, very nice. Like I say, visuals all done by Aerosoft. Quite a big cockpit. Airbuses tend to have quite nice, decent sized flight decks, but there you go. So then you soak in the cockpit for a little bit. Indeed, Aerosoft did the visuals, and ToLiss have done the systems and engine models. How long was development? That's a great question. I do have a answer for that. I don't have details. I know that it started in the FS Expo in Houston in 2023, where they first met, but then there was a few months of work and so on after that. So it's been in the works for a while to get it to this point. I think developing these aircraft is not an easy thing to do at all. I have not used the Wing MCDU with it yet, I'm afraid, so I can't answer that one. But there we go. You can head out the flight deck. There we go. And you have a cabin, and this one is customized. This is a livery that came with it. This is the Virgin Atlantic livery, and we have a different cabin and you know, the appropriate signage and magazines, and even their little screen here, which I think is pretty cool. And down you go. It does include wing views, but yeah, full cabin model. I don't think it's very clickable. I must confess, I don't spend too long in the cabins on my flight simulations, but I do like having the windows. More and more, I like having a window texture so that we can get a nice wing view, which we do have preloaded. Here we go, except for that truck. That's really annoying me, getting in the way. But there we go. And the flight deck is more animated than we're used to with ToLiss's previous aircraft. So things like the window opening, we've got the tray table. ToLiss didn't originally have that in X-Plane, I remember, for a long time. Movable sunshades. So this is nice stuff. Got the little bits and bobs that we tend to like. And then you can click there, bring it back. Classic Airbus. So yeah. Nice stuff. So we'll try all of that out. I'll be putting lots of sunshades up. Long haul pilots love nothing more than a sunshade. See if I can figure out how to drag this one out of the way before I regret doing that. There we go. That one goes up. And then this one you have to click there. I wonder if I drag it halfway. Hey, it actually springs back. I like that. Airbus do very good sunshades. I'm very jealous. Down in here, I have my Navigraph set up, and I've loaded in my SimBrief OFP, which you can load in, and then set it to do your payload and fuel, which it will do once I load the flight plan in, which we will do very shortly. Obviously, weight and balance, that's going to load up accordingly as well. I don't need to touch that yet. Takeoff performance to come later. Landing performance, checklists over here, which are good and interactive, so you can tick through. So we can do them. We've got time. I'm hoping you've all got time. We are going to get through this and enjoy it all. Lauren V, thanks for coming along. Nice to see you. Lauren V says, tray table and window were introduced to X-Plane in the A340-600 and then added to the 321-19 after. There you go. So yeah, so when I started, they didn't have it, but now they do. Yeah, so yeah, it's nice to have it all come straight through into here as you would expect. And I can zoom in a bit on the details. You can see a bit more around the cockpit and the visuals, just to give you a closer idea of what's going on. Mr. K says, A340 and the L1011 TriStar are my favorite. Yeah, I can understand why. Dr. Dilkington, good to see you. Dr. Dilkington says, how amazing how the flight deck doesn't look that much wider than a 320. No, it certainly does not. But most flight decks, even on long-haul aircraft, you'd be amazed how a 777 flight deck, they get wider behind, but long-haul aircraft, they have to narrow to a point. And the fact is that all the instruments and controls have to be this a sort of human's reach away. So the cockpits tend to be about the same size. You just get nicer sort of areas behind as you get up the larger aircraft. Anyway, engine master 1, 2, 3, 4 off. Engine start selector. Norm. I love having 4 engines. Norm. Landing lever down. Wipers off. Battery 1. Oh, check down. Wipers are off. And then battery 1, 2, and AP battery are all off. So the batteries are up here. They're off. We do have external power already. We can then go to battery 1 to AP back voltage check above 25.5. So you can just move this little thing to check all on this liquid crystal display that we are above 25.5. And they are. We don't need to do that. NA. And you can see that when it's NA, you can tick it and it just deletes it. All batteries above 25.5. Turn them all to auto. External power on. So batteries 1, 2, 3. External power. And it springs to life. Let me know how the audio is again as I work to sort of show you this aircraft. So I hope you can hear some of the electrics and so on as it springs to life. So we're getting the self-test. ToLiss's underlying systems of Airbus are, again, there is nothing better. They are at the top of Airbus simulation, certainly. So you can expect some really good underlying simulations. Things like the bleed air system, all of this stuff works. If you turn on engine anti-ice, the engines will have to they take some bleed pressure for that. Things like this. It's all here. It's very, very good. While I wait for that to warm up, I'm going to turn up the brightness because it does load in as if they've been dimmed. So do that. This is one of the few giveaways that we're in an A340 and not a 320 is the PFD display brightness over here on the sort of glare shield. We'll turn up the eCam and the lower SD. And we'll turn up our MCDUs, little rocker switch there. Good. So, springing to life nicely. Hummer Z11, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Hummer says, hey, long time fan of your channel. Rarely catch you live. 6:50 a.m. in the US. Very keen on this aircraft. Your thoughts and reviews are highly regarded. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for coming along to say such nice words. Yeah, the A340, one of my all-time favorite aircrafts, the A340-600 in particular. I was incredibly excited to see it in X-Plane, and I am equally excited to see it come to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm so glad it's the aircraft that they chose to work on for us. It is just great. It's such an interesting machine. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the stream, and thanks for getting up so early for us. Right, so there we go. The aircraft is now powered up, and we'll carry on through. So they are all auto, external. Oh, that was NA. Auto. External power on. If starting APU now, no. Cockpit lights. Parking brake is on. Accumulated brake pressure. Very A320 style. It's over there. It's all good. B electric pump check off. That's the blue hydraulic electric pump is up here. And that is off. Chocks are in place. Parking brake. So you can release the parking brake. And then brake press check. But I think maybe I need to actually turn the blue pump off. Oh no, press them, and there we go, we get pressure, so that's good. So we've got backup brakes working. So you do that on stand. How interesting. I've not seen that before. Cockpit preparation then. So that's sort of your preliminary cockpit prep. Cockpit preparation is a flow, more importantly, and it's going to start in the overhead panel down here. So we're going to turn on the crew supply, ground control for the flight recorder. Moving up, GPWS is all in. Emergency electrical power. The RAT does deploy, and it is animated as well. As we move up, we've got the evac control. I've got it set to capture in per, so that means that either the flight deck or the flight deck and the cabin crew can activate the evacuation if they need to. That's an airline thing. An extra panel here we're not used to. Inner tank split and jettison arm active. You'll see this used if we have an engine failure. You'll see this used if we need to return overweight. Unlikely today because we're going to take off below max landing weight because of our low fuel load for a short flight. Over here, turbulence damping system. This is the sort of long haul thing. It's very nice. It makes long haul aircraft much nicer in turbulence, and most modern ones have this. 777 has it, 787 has it, 350, 380 all have it, of course. Primary flight control computer, secondary flight control computer. So they have changed over to primary and secondary, not ELACs and SECs and all the other A320 style ones. Remember, this is a late 90s aircraft. This came out after the A320, so they learned a lot of things. APU fire test, let's run that. And that works down here. Now, hopefully that'll give you an idea of the noise, and let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. I'll try and read the chat very briefly here. This is payware, Matthew, indeed. The price is not released, and the release date is not released. The release date is to come, but they want to make sure everything's running smoothly. Hence, they've done a sort of an initial release to streamers and so on to have a look at it first, and to just get a staggered sort of release, as it were. I guess. I think that's my understanding. It is. So we'll go to nav. Get the on-bat light while it tests itself. Nav for IR2. And nav IR3. And trust me, these systems, the systems in this aircraft it's just ridiculous. It's all so great. Moving down, lights, standard stuff, so no smoking to auto, emergency exit lights to arm, seatbelts off. It's been a long time since I've been in Airbus, so do forgive me. I'm sure I will make some errors today because I am now, I've been flying Boeing for 3 years, so I'm much more Boeing orientated again. I say again, it's my first time, but there we go. So nav logo we'll put on, strobe to auto, beacon off, and all the other landing lights off. Notice this light here, runway turn off and camera. We'll talk about that later, but that's really cool. I love that. APU not starting yet. Cabin pressure all in auto. Anti-ice all off. Annoying. It's not automatic. It's here, just like on the A320. Yeah, that annoys me. I want automatic. Bleed air all off. Packs. We've got the fault lights along with the electric fault lights for the 4 generators we've got. Each engine has a generator, which is pretty cool. Not all 4-engine aircraft bother to do that because it's just so many generators, but there we go. And the batteries are all on. Fuel, I'm just going to turn on every white light because it's an Airbus. Thank you very much. Hydraulics as well. We have 3 hydraulic systems, but 2 ways to power the green system and our rat. So a lot of redundancy again, as usual, for this sort of aircraft. Yeah, 3 years it has been, Nick. I know, it's absolutely crazy. This does have a taxi camera. Yes. Did all the A340-600s have it? I think so, but I don't know that for sure. It's a great question. We can test the engines all at once. Test. All good. And down we go. I have tried time compression. So I have done that indeed. So we're going to see how we can get this aircraft to to speed us along a flight if we want to. You could do a long haul flight in this in a short haul flight time quite easily without feeling like you've missed out. But that's true of most long haul. Then we've got wipers off, manual start and N1 mode. This is due to it having Rolls-Royce engines. They all have Rolls-Royce engines, but N1 mode, these are failure modes. If the EPR issue fails, we can try that out later. And manual start, which we're not going to do, just like an A320. Avionics ventilation extract. This is if you have smoke fire fumes, cargo smoke as well, and then the air conditioning for the cargo. VHF 3 set to data as it would be, and the third pilot's radio panel. Landscape camera. I don't actually know what that is. I have not tried that button yet. Interesting. And passenger systems. I wonder if that's a camera for the passengers. I've not seen that before. And up here is the extra bits, including the fact the toilet's occupied. So there we go. We'll move down now and have a look around the cockpit. So we've set up the lights, the loudspeaker. I'm going to set the QNH, but we have not live weather yet. We'll use live weather when we do our flight, but for now I've got it set to a nice standard day, QNH 1013, and this is all to come as we set up the aircraft. We'll have constraints on the other side as well. Down to the PFD, that's going to be left alone until it's aligned. It is currently aligning IRS in a line 7 minutes. We've got landing gear down and skid on. Auto brake needs to be set to disarm because it's a separate switch, RTO switch for takeoff on this aircraft, which is over here, which we'll use later. Gear lever down, and there's the landing gear gravity extension. The other giveaway, this is not an A320, it's a different system on this aircraft. Switching panel all set to norm. These do also work, of course. And our 2 MCDUs, status page. Not much difference here, except we have electric AC and DC separated into 2 separate pages. Oh. And I think the rest of this is pretty standard. Oh, and a CB page, but I'm not entirely sure of its use at the moment. I've been trying to play around with that and couldn't really convince it to do much. I'm sure it works, but there we go. Weather radar is off, transponder is in standby, flaps are up, speed brake up, and just start norm MCDU. So there we go. So what we'll do now is we'll go into the MCDU and load in our flight plan. So I have my sim brief number loaded in, so I can go to MCDU menu, ATSU. Let me get this right. AOC, flight init. So it will now initialize all the data. I will be on VATSIM when we get going, but for now I won't. Sky says, I've never used X-Plane, so how would these systems compare to the Phoenix in Microsoft Flight Simulator? So this is as good as, you know, this is top-notch Airbus systems. They know what they're doing. Yeah. That's my opinion on it anyway. Okay, and we can go to, I don't have the departure ages because we're not on VATSIM, so if we go to weather, we can just request. Oh, maybe these won't work either actually. So there goes, loaded a whole load of things. Not sure why that's not working right now, but that's certainly something I've not done right because I haven't done that before. There we go. So we've initialized that. Then we do our diff strip. So data, aircraft status, up to date, and we've even got. Oh no, it's not up to date. Look, 2024. Well, that's the old database. So yeah, it does take it from Navigraph, so you can of course update the databases on it. Anyway, init A time, so that's loaded in. So we're going from Toulouse to Heathrow, alternate Manchester, version 222, 424 passengers. That's an awful lot. Cost next 42. Flight level 340. So it's loaded all of this in for us because it's taken it all straight out of SimBrief. I think it's put the fuel on as well. It has. And IRS init, it's already aligning on the GPS position, so that's fine. And winds, I will request shortly, because I just want to check the flight plan first. So that's init A. You could have just typed it in, of course. So data init A flight plan, and here we go, Toulouse, and then out via Lacu, and then our route is all loaded in all the way through to Heathrow. What I'm just going to do is make sure that I have the correct weather for Toulouse, and make sure that we will just use the correct runway for when we do take off with live weather, which we'll do once we get going. Toulouse is currently using 14014, so that'll be southerly runway. So we'll take off from runway 14 right, which is the Airbus runway, because it's on our side of the runway. So if I press flight plan, Toulouse, and then departure, 14 right, out via Lacu, and I think we can take the 7 Alpha. So let's start looking at our EFB. I can now go to charts, SID, and if I type in Lima, Foxtrot, Bravo, Oscar, enter. Now, there's a thing about this EFB. If it's highlighted in blue like that, it's a toggle switch. I did not quite realize that and made a few mistakes when I was first trying out this aircraft. There we go. Lovely. 4,000 feet. Big sweeping right turn back past the downwind, and then up we go to Lacu. So we'll take that one, and it will stay down here in recent charts, a feature I do like. I would like it to automatically put the airfield into here, but there we go. ToLiss on Microsoft Flight Simulator, crazy days. I know it's quite something, but I'm here for it. So Lacu 7 Alpha, and no transition, insert, and that now would appear on once it's aligned properly. Still aligning, 2 minutes to go, but there we go. Above 2,500, D141H, so 2,500 D141H, which is 8 miles, and then 4,000 feet overfly point, right turn back to Lacu, and we'll do a climbing right turn. Excellent. Stop altitude for that is flight level 70, so I'll put 70 in the window. Fantastic. You can indeed open the window. The price of this aircraft is not yet confirmed. Both windows open, but they say market price, so there's nothing. I don't think any surprises are coming there, but I do not know the price myself, I promise that. I'm going to set this ADF off, and I'll set this one to VOR. There we go. Good. Right, so that is our A diff flight plan, secondary flight plan. We're just going to copy. We can put Heathrow's arrival in later on as we get closer. Init B time, and it's not happy. So why is it not happy? Let's have a look. What have I done wrong in my SimBrief OFP? So this reckons 10.2 tons for the trip, contingency at 15 minutes, average wind component plus 34. There you go. So it has expecting a tailwind, 10.5 tons, 1.6 reserves, 3.9 alternate, 4.6 final. So it doesn't think it has enough fuel to do it, which is, yeah, really interesting. So if I go to init A, wind, that's common on long haul aircraft, by the way, when you're flying eastbound. If you don't upload the winds, then it won't think it has enough fuel to do it. I can't believe that's made enough of a difference on this flight, though. No, it hasn't, no. So we have 21.1 tons. That was the required fuel, 21.1 for 10 tons for 1 hour of flying, which is unbelievable, really, isn't it? 1 hour 20 of flying. 2 tons contingency fuel, 4.4 tons, and then final reserves of 3.7. This has a lot higher final, 4.6. So that's interesting. I'll be curious as to why that's happened. So that's a ton of fuel missing right there. So what I can do quite easily, if I go to weight balance, 424 passengers, 21.1, and if I just go 20, let's take 31 tons of fuel. Might make the takeoff a tiny bit more realistic, because you could be taking off right up to here. So we'll go quick refuel. $31, and now we have acres of fuel. So there we go. Good. So that's now loaded in it B. Diffs, radio nav, auto-tuned, init B, and finally performance. Okay, so performance time, 1-4 right. So now we're onto the takeoff performance tab. Here you can see 1-4 right, it loads it in from the aircraft, and it will just load in the wind in the simulator, which is done. And you can reset it to load in the latest wind. So that's absolutely fine for us today. 15 degrees, 1013, dry runway, anti-ice off, taking off at 258.9 tons, which is light for one of these things. Flex thrust, auto config, air conditioning. I'm going to put it on. Compute. So there we go. And quite interesting, you get a range on the V1 in this. And that's to do with you can have a lower V1 because you can actually still take off. Even if the engine fails here, you'd still make it off the end of the runway. But the disadvantage is you'd have a more chance of taking an engine failure into the air than you needed to. So that it's a balance. Most airlines don't tend to lower their V1s like this unless it's wet and it needs to be lowered. But anyway, there we go. So we've got a takeoff of, and this is just like an A320, no shift, flaps 1, and we have trim ball up 2.7, and that is important. So 1/up 2.7, and you must get this right. It really wants it, otherwise it will complain, and we'll see why later. Flex 70, so flex 70. Don't forget the F, I always do now on the Airbus. V1 159, VR 1. Let's do the split. 138, 159, 166. 138, 159, 166. There we go. So what we've got here is the full page setup, and I'm going to do a V1 engine cut today just to show you what it looks like in an aircraft like this. It's quite cool, and you'll see how the ToLiss handles things. It's really great. And that's it. That's the MCDU setup. Finally, you might say, but there we go. We've gone through that in quite nice detail, I think. Now we can see that we're all aligned. We've got 138, 166, climb that blue, 1FT2, flight level 70. There's our departure. I'm going to put terrain on my ND. They've got a really nice terrain display. We might see some rain and stuff once we get going, especially as we're flying to London, which is of course raining again today, and that will reveal some of the nice weather effects they've got and so on this aircraft as well. Good. Landing performance will come later, so back to our checklist tab. We've done the cockpit preparation, so we're on to before pushback start. So load sheet we've now done. And let me just make sure the weights that it did draw those in automatically. So we'll just check that they're not anything unusual. 227.9. 227.9. Yeah, it's loaded up correctly. That's good. Otherwise life will get very difficult. Load sheet check. Takeoff data we've done. So here you can see it's easy to click the wrong thing. MCDU in takeoff config. If APU not yet running, it is not. We've done the fire test though. So master switch on. Rico says, currently in Westminster and the rain is holding off just for you. Excellent. Good news. Starting the APU. Seatbelt signs to on. We're getting ready to go. Freddie says, are you sitting low? No, this is my chase plane position. Now to me, this looks perfect. But you could adjust this if you have chase plane. Or obviously you can actually adjust this in any way you like. The glare shield is modelled, I think, absolutely right. I actually think this is a good position. PFD is visible and you're in line with the red dots over here. So to me, this makes a lot of sense. But yeah, you could adjust it to your tastes, of course. Because we got chase plane, so we got our cinematic camera, our wing view, aside from that truck, which is upsetting me. But yeah, so APU is on the way. You can just about hear it spring into life at the back there. It's got a nice heat blur effect. Does this fly the same as the ToLiss A340 for X-Plane in terms of flight model? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. I am very pleased, in fact, at how similar it is to the X-Plane version. The X-Plane version catches people out, including me, because of the flare and the way of landing it. And luckily, this aircraft is exactly the same, so I was at least ready for that. That's a very confident thing for me to say before we've done a landing. So we shall see how that goes. And like I say, we're going to get the chance to do lots of landings because of the way this aircraft is set up. What I'm also going to do is go through to ground services, and in here you can do a quick de-icing, remove the external power, the chocks and so on. So I'm going to close, actually put the doors to auto. I think that will just close them up, and that way, and you can hear them close, and the ID disappears down there. auto, and we'll see the doors page should hopefully, yeah, they're all closing up now. So those are all closing. I'm going to halve the pushback distance. We'll see the pushback shortly. But last time I did this, it went way too far. There we go. Right, so back to checklists. APU is on and available. So we've done all of that. And now we can turn off the external power. We're on ship's power. And APU bleed to go on. Very, very A320. And this is why this is such a nice long-haul airplane for those of you who are nervous of leaving the A320. This would be it's a no-brainer. It's so simple. Nose gear disconnect is not yet done because we haven't got the pushback tug, so we'll ignore that for now. Windows doors closed, and it's time to do a little flow. So thrust levers are at idle. Parking brake is set. Beacon on. And let's lock the door. Oh, we need to actually close it as well. How do I do that? Clunk. Excellent. Right. So carrying on. Windows doors, beacon, thrust levers, park brake, accumulator pressure. Next is engine starts. We do start 2 engines at a time with a slight gap in between. So it'll be 1 and 2. Start them up fully, and then 3 and 4. But we have this little gap of here. So I think we're pretty much ready to go now. I think it's time we actually get this airplane underway. I love that chase plane, this is the normal chase plane sort of exterior view. It can't actually get this airplane all in camera. So what it does is it sort of shifts position like this as it tries to get the whole thing in frame. I love that. It's just too long. This is 70 odd meters of airplane. How many meters did I say? 70... No, that's the 737. Where did I write it down? It is a lot. Don't start a fact if you don't have it written down. That's my lesson here. 75. There we go. 75 meters of airplane. So we're ready to go. AP bleed's running. You can hear the air conditioning. If I look at the bleed page, we can see that. The packs are running. Pressure. And then the air conditioning packs there. Sorry, that's the bleeds. So it's time really to go. Let's go for the pushback. So startup situations, this is where you can do quick starts for the engines, which we won't need to do, or you can set your state to cold and dark, engine running and so on, things like that. You can also save your situations, which I have. I will talk about that a bit more later on, and your autosave, make sure that's on. Aircraft simulator control is the next bit, so you can have aircraft age and the chance of failures. And we'll talk about these once we're underway. I don't want to get too bogged down. So let's go to ground services. Pushback. It's automatic. We've got 48. I think that's meters. And then I'm going to turn it by 90 degrees tail left to point us out of this area. It is not the easiest way to do a pushback, but we're doing quite a short one, and we'll turn there. I might even do less. Let's try 35 meters. That's only the wingspan. Oh, it's tricky. So start auto pushback. Oh, you can open the cowlings on the engines, by the way. Just to show you. There you go. I think that's pretty cool. All 4 of them. So the handling of this aircraft is something else. Yeah, we'll talk more and more about the handling. But yes, I like it, and it's very similar, and you'll see why. The flight model for this is not done by the default Microsoft Flight Simulator model. ToLiss have made their own. They customized one to make sure it worked how they wanted it to. That should tell you everything you need to know, really. If I release the brakes, will it start? Helps you get rid of the chocks and the external power. Off we go. We're going, finally. So, we'll see how this goes. But engine starts are very standard on this. I'm going to leave that page ready. We start number 1 and 2 first. So we'll put the master ignition. We've got pressure. Start engine number 1 on. I'll wait for N3 to pass 10%. N3 is up here. 10. And now I can start number 2. Okay, I think this might have been a good decision. Oh no. Even this is too much. I think we're stuck with it though. Even if I put the brakes on. Oh, I think I've managed to line us up perfectly in the grass. This airplane is just too long. Right, anyway. Engine starting. Fuel flow now into engine 1. EGT rise. Engine 2. EGT rise. Trying to get you a view of the engines. There we go. Parking brake set. Yep. That did not work. Engine up and running. Let me get you a bit of a better view. Have this ready just for the next engine starts. So yeah, nice modelling on the engines, nice fan blade sort of imagery as well while they spin round. I don't know if that's too loud for you, so you let me know. Mud found in right hand main gear tyres. Yes, there would be. I think the engines look really nice actually. Nice texturing, nice tail cone, everything like that. Let's see if we can get a bit of a view of these two starting out. There we go. Wish me luck, because I find chase plane quite fiddly when I have to do things like this. So engine 3 starts. 10%. Engine 4. Oh, when the transponder can go to auto, of course, because we're pushing back. Oh, it did exactly what I didn't want it to do. Okay, excellent. So that's all the engines. Oh no, not quite. We'll get too excited. Avail, and then we'll get the final avail over here. Do you need to stay position for the camera? Yeah, but I thought it would stick as we hopped around. Anyway, avail. Engines are all up and running. And the trim, unfortunately we missed it, but it has already set to 2.7 up. It does that on its own. And that's a feature of the aircraft to make sure that it's set right for takeoff so you don't track the tail on takeoff, which is obviously very easy to do. So engine must switch back to norm. There we go. APU bleed off. We don't need anti-ice. APU off. Big clunk as it does that, which is a shame because the long-haul aircraft, the 777, would automatically synchronize the power to make sure it doesn't do that big clunk. It's a power changeover. Moving down. We've set the trim, or it sets it for us, 2.7 up. Make sure up, 2.7, very important. Spoilers arm, rudder 0, flaps 1, just 1 needed for takeoff today, and out they run. And there's our slats. There are noises for the slats and flaps and doors closing and opening. Quite nice sounds actually, I'm quite impressed with them. Good afternoon, Andrew. Andrew says, which A350 is the best in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024? I think there's only one A350 in that. That's my understanding anyway. So there we go. We'll get ourselves back over onto the tarmac. And let's run the checklist. So, after engine start selector norm, APU bleed off, ground spoilers arm, rudder trim 0, flaps are 1+F, pitch trim 2.7 up, ECAM checked, engine anti-ice not required, wing anti-ice not required, AP master off, ECAM doors and all slides armed check. So if we go back to the doors page, we did already see that they are closed and armed. It does that automatically. Nozzle steering disconnect memo not displayed. That would be up here, just like on the A320. It's not. Go to disconnect announce. Next is the taxi checklist. So yeah, we're not going to do all this like this because it's going to be a little bit cumbersome on stream. What we can do is imagine we're clear for taxi. Nose light going on. We're taking off. This is an important thing to get right. We want to take off facing that way, so we're going to taxi out and go left. If I go to my Navi graph, I can now go to taxi charts and airport briefing gen. No, wrong. Airport info. And Laku 7 Alpha. Now, why has it not saved that? It seems to have got bored of remembering the recent charts. How strange. Oh well. We'll do one at a time. No problem. So we are down here. We're going to do a left turn and taxi all the way up Sierra 11. Let's not miss Sierra 11 and accidentally wander past it. So we'll keep an eye that we don't go up off the end of the runway there, end of the taxiway. Now here's a feature that we've all been waiting for. This does have the taxi camera, and you can choose it down on this panel down here. You've got the option for FO to have it, the status display, this lower screen to have it, or systems display, and captain to have it. So I'm going to put captain to taxi, and it appears on the left here. Now this is not a live feed of outside the aircraft or of the wheels. It's not an extra camera view, but what it does is it will allow us to it uses the Microsoft Flight Simulator API, whatever that means. I don't fully understand, but it does give us something, and it's more than we've ever had before. So I'm here for it. So we've got the taxi lights on. We don't need the camera turn off lights, but I'll put them on for now anyway. But I'll show you in the dark later on. But it does work in the dark, and the lights do work. It's really cool, really clever. It's clear on the left. It's clear on the right. It's clear on my camera, and this does something the Boeing camera doesn't do, which it provides you with ground speed. Because I use these cameras on the 777-300. But these provide more information, I think, and to have the ground speed included is great. Parking brake release, let's get going. That's that, almost an hour after the stream start, and we're taxiing. That's not bad for a brand new airplane. And again, I don't normally stream like this. I have the throttle set up one side on each, so I've got two throttles. One does 1 and 2, one does 3 and 4. And you might be thinking, well, how do you do like an engine failure like that? And I'll show you how. It is possible. Nose gear this animates a turn as well, which is really, really cool. Look at that. Now again, the resolution of this screen and of the ground textures is not that great. I don't think it animates flight controls. It does have some flaps down. Out of interest, let's bring the flaps up. I don't think those are animated either. Yes, they are. I did not expect that. I wonder if the gear's animated. Unfortunately, you can't use it in flight, although we could use it down here in flight. I'd be curious to see now. The camera is a toy. Unfortunately, pilots always love new toys on the aircraft, so this is now just a new toy for us. It's clear on the right, clear on the left. Let's not get too distracted by our camera. Oh, now it's remembered it. Disappointing. Let me just change this to the view I actually want. You can see the ailerons have drooped down, and there's the runway we're using, so yes, we're in the right place. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? What a machine. It's just such an impressive machine, and I've seen these flying up close, and yeah, they stand out. You can see them coming in on approach a mile off because they just look so gangly, like these big mosquitoes. They are quite something. So as you can see, you can see taxi lines. They're just not very high resolution, and you can see even like markings. So there is something useful in here, even if it's not a direct feed. So I'm so impressed with it. You might be wondering, what are these markers for? Well, I believe these highlight the main gear, so at night you can see where the main gear are going to be, even if you can't see them because it's dark and rainy. And these two dots, the idea of these is if you put the center line as you do a turn on this dot, then you'll have the aircraft in a good position. I'll show you when we do our right turn up here. So it's just a way, because you have to oversteer this aircraft, of course. Oh, for goodness sake, Microsoft Flight Simulator never fails, does it? As we do a turn, we obviously can't put the nose gear on the center line like you sort of can in an A320, but it would be no good in this at all. You would immediately put this main gear into the grass. You'll see the wings bending. They do have a flex on the ground that's adjusted by ground roll. You've got to remember the flight model is coming from a different place to normal. So I can go into, let me just check. Aircraft sim control and adjust the flex from ground bumps and adjust the wing flex strength. We'll have a look at that later, but yeah, there are some limitations to that at the moment. Now we've got fault scenarios, sounds, replay, joystick, so we'll look at those once we're going as well. I don't think I need to show you any of those, but we are going to set up a fault before we get going. Like I say, we'll do an engine failure on takeoff, which I think should be a good bit of fun. Captain Sticky Rise, hello to you, thanks for coming along. Kedistil 7 says, hopefully there'll be a Mahan Air livery. yes, I'm looking forward to all the liveries we might get. I'd love to see if we can get my Manta 85 livery on this one. Looks great. Nice lighting as well. The nav lights and strobe lights at night look particularly nice. We'll do some night work as well. And you can see that wing. I think it flexes quite nicely, but it can be a little bit jittery, I think. But it's definitely it's improved over the course of the over these last few updates. Great modelling. I love the extra lump that they have on the tail fin of these aircraft. I assume because they need to be a little stronger. Rico says, this looks great. I've never flown an X-plane, so not familiar with this developer, but very ready for a study level 4-jet aircraft until we get proper 747. Yeah, this is a study level developer. That's the idea. I'm not a fan of study level as a phrase, but I totally understand what it means. Yeah. So what we don't want to do here, what would be very embarrassing, is to go up the end there and get yourself stuck. 4 engines. That's just gonna be. It's just gonna be such a great feeling, isn't it? So we're taking the right turn here. Now, unfortunately, this is where this can be a little bit blurry, so we do lose out a little bit, and our centerline isn't showing up as much as I'd hoped. So there we go. So let's just slow it down. We'll do all our flight control checks at the holding point, get the airplane ready to go, and then I'll do a save so we have it there ready for us. Indeed, yes, auto brake and so on to do. Yeah, so let's bring it to a stop so I don't mess any of that up. So yeah, so you would put this dot on the yellow line, which would probably be somewhere now, and then you can start the turn. But I'm going to just do it like this. Yeah, a little bit late there. What a machine. It's so big. And you have to be careful with long-haul aircraft because, as you can see, I'm just going to stop here, set the parking brake. Because if you get it wrong, you can actually stick your wingtip out over a holding point like this before your nose if you're not too careful. Right, so let's do our flight control checks. So, as ever, full right. And the only difference here you've got is that you've got 2 ailerons on each side. Full left, the roll spoilers deploy. Full up, just 2 elevators like normal. Full down, and rudder full right. Full left, and if we look outside, we can see how these are all animated as you would expect. Very nicely, they respond in a nice Airbus-y smooth fashion. Roll spoilers there, and your 2 outboard ailerons. But yeah, the roll spoilers don't seem to animate on this little thing. But the flaps do. Very clever. They put in a lot of work into that then, because it must be reading some information from the sim and vice versa. Will there be a Ryanair livery for this plane? I imagine someone will do that at some point, yes. So we've done that. Let's put the transponder to TRA. Let us bing bong the cabin crew. Oh, there we go. If you bing bong all, that will get rid of that. And auto brake, you just press RTO arm. I like that a lot. And it shows up down here as well. And then takeoff config. Our predicted wind shear, of course. Weather radar needs to come on. Predicted wind shear to auto. Okay. So, checklists. We've done all of this. Before takeoff. Brake temps. Check. That's on the wheel page. They're all very low. We have no brake fans. You don't often have brake fans on long-haul aircraft. They are heavy to carry around a long way, and you have long turnarounds. Clearance, approach path. Cabin crew, engine start selector not required, so we're going to leave it at norm. If you had some conditions like heavy rain or turbulence, you'd do ignition start. I don't think I've ever used that on takeoff, even in the A320. The reason is, if you've got heavy rain or some reason to turn it on, you probably shouldn't be taking off, but there could be airline SOPs. TRA, camera selectors go off. Now, it's really clever that they put ground speed up here, even though you also have ground speed here. The Boeing just hides it entirely, but you don't use this for takeoff. It's not sensible. So what we're going to do is get rid of it. It would automatically disappear, I think above 60 or 100 knots, somewhere around there. So during the takeoff roll, it would disappear. But let's just switch it off. If you want to save it on, you can put it down on this screen and it will stay there. And look at that, it even keeps the information at the bottom. Love that. Your SimCFI says, hope all is well on your flight with the Beast. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming along. Your CFI says, was in Frankfurt, but was way too busy for a showcase. Oh, right, okay, yeah. There's quite a few. I think there's some VATSIM events. It's a weekend, and then there's quite a few streamers with this aircraft as well, I think, today. So, there we go. So, that is set with the cameras off. Pack 1 and 2, I'm going to leave on. External lights, let's do it. So, strobes coming on, landing light on. and the takeoff light on. So those are all set. Sliding table stow, we didn't use it for the taxi out. Before takeoff checklist complete. So now we have the takeoff. You can see here, the only thing we need to do is start the chrono, and then it's 100 knots is the difference over a Boeing, so 100 knots stick to neutral. Although it doesn't seem to suggest you put half down. Anyway, there we go. So, now what I'm going to do is go to startup situations. It has saved, 5 minutes ago it would have saved, but I'm going to save a new one. So I'm going to type in, we are in ToLiss, so I'm going to put LFBO stream takeoff. And I'm hoping, I've talked this feature up a lot, I've used it a lot, both in X-Plane and when I've been testing this one. Save. I'm hoping that this will work. And there we go, LFBO stream takeoff. You can see here I have a couple of others from previous like test flights, e.g. KK final, Heathrow to Gatwick. And then it has our autosave situation here. So if your computer now was to completely crash, you can just load up in the sim, load it up at the runway, and with the engines running, and then just press one of these and it will put it right back here, and we'll see this in use in a minute. It's just the best feature ever. I absolutely love it, and it saved me on so many streams in the past in the ToLiss A321. What I'm also going to do is now have a look at some failures, because like I said, this is going to be a little test of the aircraft. So let us we'll do, I think we all know what a normal takeoff looks like. Even in an A340 it's pretty standard. You're just going to be careful of the tail. We're not doing a full weight takeoff either. So what I'm going to do is go to fault scenarios and add in a fault for takeoff. So you can enable random faults factored, so you have more chance of one or less chance. And I'm going to have a fault. Our V1 is 138. So let's add a new fault, and you choose your category. So obviously we're going to go for engine. Let's pick an outboard engine, so engine 1. And let's have a fail recoverable. See if we can relight it. Why not try that? And then I can choose a time, a speed, an altitude, or a random moment for it to happen. And again, this is how commercial pilots are trained. The trainer will put this information into the simulator before their takeoff to make sure it happens at exactly the right point. So at IAS, and we said 138. So just put it. The reason I want to do it is I want it to happen. Let's do 140 just to make sure. I want it to happen on takeoff roll where we have to keep flying the aircraft down to VR, because it would just keep us on the ground longer. I'd just be curious to see what it looks like. I haven't actually tried this yet in this aircraft, but I have tried these failures. So that is now set up to fail, and we can then recover it at speed 140. So let's do apply now. And this is now active. So the airplane is poised. We've saved our situation. We're ready to go. I think it's time we get the airplane over to the runway and have a go at trying it out with this failure. And then we're going to restart the engine. I'll show you the flight mode, and we'll do a couple of landings, and then we'll do our flight. How does that sound? I think that should be a nice day out in this aircraft. So, clear on approach, clear on the right. We're the only ones here. This is a test aircraft only. Parking brake release. Now, I do actually prefer, I like lining up using the camera, because there's often the holding points that have the trickiest taxiways. Although this one's not too bad. So yeah, I'm going to bring the camera up for just this bit. Nice and light, so it's running away on the roll. Can you guys hear any cockpit noise, any ambient noise there? I hope you can. So yeah, this is idle thrust, and it's just rolling along. You don't need taxicab. It's a Microsoft Flight Simulator API that allows the taxi camera. A bit of brake squeeze and you'll see the nose gear compress. Nice physics on the ground. It feels nice on the ground, this aircraft. It's not overly grippy. We'll see how we think of that after we get do this engine failure. Now, real airliners do not test engine failures that rotate like this. This is very much a simulator exercise. But the takeoff performance is done. We're on 1-4 right. We have the right weather. It's a nice day. So there we go. Lining up. Some pilots find cameras distracting, by the way. They don't all use them because you should be looking outside and you judge things like turns through window panels. So when the center line goes through this part of the window, that part of the window. And some pilots find this just an extra annoyance. And like I say, on the Boeing, you lose the ground speed. So it does depend on the pilot whether they like that. I don't have any Rex Atmos. This is just standard weather. The very average pilot says, I meant to be learning to fly the Chipmunk today. Awesome. I'd love to fly the Chipmunk. But cancelled due to weather, so this is a good second place. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. So let's get ourselves going. So we're going to do half side stick. Release the brakes. Let's go. EPR, because it's a Rolls Royce. Two clicks. Manflex 70, SRS, runway. Haven't seen that for a while. Oh, my Xbox controller's going mad. So thrust is set. It's really nice on the ground. I think this is due to the custom flight model. I'm putting in rudder here, and look how smooth it is. I can even show you. Look, it behaves not like a go-kart or a train on rails. 100 knots, stick to neutral. I'm not sure you need to do that in the A340 because it's so long. So we're going through V1 here. And now I'm feeling a bit of a swing to the left, and I can see and hear the clunk as engine 1 is now wound down, but we can't stop. We're through V1. Rotate. So let's get the airplane into the air. Holding in that rudder, holding in the rudder, keeping the wings as level as I can, not too much rudder. And there's positive rates. Gear up. Wow. It does not need much rudder, even with an outboard engine failed. And there we go, look at this. It's rocketing away. Because of course we've only lost a quarter of the power. You can see that I'm keeping the beta target in the middle. The blue, it has gone to blue. And this is because the ToLiss Airbus systems are spot on. I am touching nothing. I'm not moving the side stick. I'm just holding the rudder now, and it's just climbing up nicely. Stack it at V2. This is the joy of the Airbus. In fact, you can see I've got a little bit too much right rudder. Just trickle it off a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is input some rudder trim. I need some right rudder. Now this is hard to do because I don't have feedback on the controls. So I want to put in right rudder until that I can release my pedals. I'm going to start the turn to make sure we don't go too far off our departure. And I'm going to put in the autopilot. And there we go. Rudder trim is in. 7.8, 7.9. The beta target stays. We're climbing at V2 because it would have done V2 plus a bit, but it's doing V2 because we've had an engine failure. And we've had the ECAM come up with actions that we need to apply. And this is what I mean. This is the ToLiss. It just works. You can see here our engine's failed. It's not damaged. I just did a wind down, as it were. So what we're going to do now is make a right turn at 4,000 feet. We may struggle to make that restriction. In fact, if I go to flight plan, I don't think we'll make... No, hold on. It's miles away. I think we could make it. I think it's just going to keep drawing it out because it's it's further in front of us. But there we go. Engine failure on a 4-engine aeroplane. A very nice problem not to have, as it were. Beautiful. I love the wing flex. The wing flex has been adjusted quite a bit by ToLiss, and it looks absolutely gorgeous right now, I think. So, engine number 1 is wound down. We're climbing away with the slats. We've got a master caution. So master caution, and we can run through the first part of the ECAM. So engine 1 fail. We're flying the aircraft. We're in MTT, SRS. That's fine. Nav. And it's all going well. So and we don't have to do anything except fly this turn at 4,000 feet, which we're about to hit, and it will do the right turn. And yeah, engine 1 fail. Engine start, select to ignition. Put that to ignition. Thrust lever 1 idle. So I was saying earlier, I've got my throttles attached, but ToLiss thought of this because obviously I can't close just one. My hardware only has 2 axes, but they have thought of a way that locks it at idle. So if I now drag this one back to idle, it will now lock it there, and now I can move to... hold on. Have I actually got that turned on before I get too clever? Smart lever idle lock. On. Save. Let's see if I can get this to work. I think because I went to reverse. So let's do... I think the reverse is what's messing it up. Idle. I'm hoping I can do that. No. Okay. There is a way to do it. I have not set it up right. There we go, we're at idle, and it says if no relight after 30 seconds. And you can see there it hasn't actually even done it. Now we're climbing up to flight level. We've all set standard. Leave asymmetry, that's fine. It wants to leave at MCT, so I can move these up to MCT, and this one can go to MCT. There we go, because the aircraft wants a bit more power available. And if no relight after 30 seconds, engine master 1 off, so you would then turn it off. And then it'll take you through the rest of it. Engine 5, push button 1, push. That's up here, and this all works. Push. and then it wants to actually put the discharge in, which suggests damage. But we haven't had damage. I'm not going to do that. Let's reset it, and let's imagine that we could restart it. Now, of course, the fault is still active. That's why it wouldn't restart. If I go to fault scenarios and I reset all, it's gone. So I'm now going to leave that at idle, put that to ignition start, and put the engine master 1 on. And now we'll see it starting up. So N3 spinning. It should introduce fuel shortly. And we'll level off at 7,000. Flight level 70. I was at MCT. What was I doing? Why did I put it to Toga? It's been a while since I've done Airbus. That's what's going on there. That's my excuse. Fuel flow. Engines back to life. I'm going to align them all and put it back to climb. There we go. Speed levers at MCT, but we don't need to because the engine's about to be restarted. It will soon forget about that. And it says auto flight. Autothrust limited. Levers move. You can see it's retracted the flaps. So it can go all the way to 250. It can go to 280 with just the slat. So it's automatically brought in the flaps. We're above the airspeed. Flaps 1 is going to 0. And there you go. And you saw those warnings. We had the overspeed warning. It's brought in the flaps. It's now recognized the engine's active. And this is what I mean. The ToLiss subsystems going on behind here are very, very, very good indeed. Baumau says, good to see you, Baumau. Says, dead engine, criticality of not turning into the dead engine depending on aircraft. It doesn't matter. You can turn into the dead engine on modern airliners because, of course, they need to be able to fly in any direction they choose. So, yeah, if that engine was number 1, if we did a sharp left turn, it wouldn't matter. This aircraft is capable of flying around like that. More to the point, you could take something like a 777-300. If you were to fail one side of one engine, that's 50% of the power, all the thrust on one side, and you could then have it fly around level, gear down, flap 30, in a landing configuration, level flight and turning, and it can do it. Don't underestimate the amount of power these engines actually have. It's really, really great. Very, very reassuring for us. And like I say, this aircraft has a lot of power. I don't use FS Realistic. I haven't tried it, so I don't actually know what it does. Oh yeah, and the very edge pilot said it as well. Yeah, no, you can turn into an engine, absolutely. Good. So we're now heading north, but let us imagine. Well, we're not too happy with this airplane. We've just been given it, and it had an engine failure. So I'm going to do a return into Toulouse. So we'll land back in on 1-4. So Lacu. So we're still going to Lacu. So new destination. Lima Foxtrot Bravo Oscar, because I want to do a landing, and then I'm going to select an arrival. ILS 14 left Zulu, and I think what we'll do is we'll just sort of maneuver ourselves over to it. So just insert that for now. So do a little hat for arrival, flight plan, Radnav, progress, LFBO 14 left. Airbus's runway, Perth. We do need to set this up. Again, we'll see all the proper sort of airline crew systems once we go. QNH is 1013, temperature 15, 2705. Yeah, we would, like I say, set all this up properly for the return. I know it's quite high to lose. Landing elevation is 500 feet, so let's do 800. We'll do a flat 4 landing. And I'm going to show you the landings. They're quite something. Fuel prediction, we've obviously got plenty. Secondary, fine. We won't touch that. Right. So let's have a look at the fly-by-wire. So this aircraft has ToLiss's fly-by-wire. Let me just check my stream is still running. Can you give us a cheeky look at the cockpit at night? Yeah, let's do that now. Why not? So here we are. Let's do nighttime. Old school, very amber style lighting. The 787 has very modern LED styles. This is much more old school. You can see the floodlight. Oh yeah, we can get rid of the ignition and the ground spoilers. They come back later. Yeah, so there you go. I don't actually know, where is the floodlight? That's the main panel floodlight. Ah, here it is. This one. That's a bit bright. I don't quite need to see all of that. And even this one's, the main panel's a little bit bright for my liking, so we'll just bring those floodlights down. Yeah, there you go. Let's have a look at the outsides. Nice nav and strobes. I like them a lot. You can always recognise an Airbus from a long way because they strobe twice. Boeing's only strobe once. And that's true even on the more modern LED style ones. I don't know what Embraer do, I must confess. So yeah, there we go. That's night time. I wonder what the cabin looks like at night. Oh, we'll do that in the cruise. Let's get back into where we were going. So yeah, so we've set up the flight plan. So flight controls. So let's turn off the autopilot. And by the way, there is a way. Let's see if I can find it. Aircraft control. Weight variant. So you can do increased gross weight or normal, and you can change the units obviously. Here's a great thing. I can pause everything. If I hit pause, freeze all, everything freezes. This aircraft is now totally frozen in time and space, and that includes fuel flow, things like that. And as I go into here, I can now in fact I can't do anything. It's totally frozen. It's a complete freeze of the aircraft, but it's very solid and reliable, and then you can release it again. You can freeze just the motion of fuel, and this way I could go into here and change the flight plan. For example, if you were at the end of a long flight and you'd put in the wrong arrival or something, and you don't want to have to sort of fly a circuit or go around like we do in real life, but you want to just enjoy your simming experience, then you could just pause it there and readjust and carry on. Really cool feature. You can also, of course, auto pause at the top of climb and things like that. I've turned off G-loaded camera because I'm using chase plane. That works separately, and you can have simplified terrain on the ND. It reduces the sort of green splodges you were seeing. That's useful if you're having performance issues. But somewhere there is a way. There we go. Flight control law override. You can force the flight control law. So we're in normal law. You won't be surprised to hear. So I'm going to disconnect the auto throttle, and this will all work exactly as you would hope because it's ToLiss. They know what they're doing. And if I now turn off the flight director as well and bank the aircraft, let's say we go to, let's bring up the flight path vector, bank the aircraft to 20 degrees and let go of the side stick. There we go. It's doing a very gentle descent because I didn't quite start the turn properly, but it is essentially not requiring any back force to leave it here. It doesn't need retrimming. I don't need to hold the side stick to keep it where we're going. We're just flying around now, and it's great. Now, if I want to overbank it, if I go past 33 degrees, I'll need to put in back stick. You'll see the side stick, and now through 33, back stick's needed to keep level flight. And you can do this all the way up to 66 degrees, which will be 2.5 G in a level turn. We're going to need to add some power here. Oh, too much. And it won't let us go past 66 degrees because that equates to 2.5, which is the structural limit. Not easy to do when you're running a bit slow there. So you see it's going to alpha floor, so that means it's driving the engines up to max thrust, and it's going to try and not let us stall the airplane. So it's going to override the pilot, but we're out of it already here, so it's going to tow lock. So just disconnect the auto throttle again and bring it back to level. So yeah, it's very Airbus-y. Same with the pitch. If I pitch it up to 10 degrees, the side stick commands a G-force. So I pitch it here and then let go. And even though the speed's washing off, the airplane is trying to just maintain what it's doing. And this is where Airbus is, you've got to be a little bit careful with them. But there we go. So I'm let the side stick go. And now it's going to get to VLS. As it hits VLS, it will stop trimming those up, I think. And then as we reduce towards alpha protection, which is here, it will start to lower the nose. Oh no, it's still trimming up, so the trim up will stop, I think, in alpha prot then. And as we go through alpha protection, which is the top of this amber bar, it will then eventually bring in the throttle system as well. Let me just wind the altitude out of the way so you can hear that. So there we go, it's hit alpha prot, it's going to keep the nose here. And if I add power now, even though I'm adding power, it won't actually accelerate. It should, I'm hoping, pitch up to try and maintain alpha prot. Oh, it has accelerated faster than that. So I will pitch up for it. Eventually we should get the G meter down there as well. If we go too much, we won't get the chance here. So there we go, through the alpha prot, alpha floor, which means the auto throttles engage and go to toga throughout power. And if I keep pitching up, it won't let me go through 30. We're very light. Remember, we have a lot of power available and we are nowhere near takeoff weight. So that's why we're getting so much performance out of this aircraft today. It feels really nice on takeoff. Like I say, they've got the right idea with the performance on this and the ground handling. But this is because ToLiss did their own flight model. So I'm holding the full backstick now. It won't go below Alpha max. So it's just going to sit there. And now the nose is dropping because it can't maintain it. And as the speed increases, it will eventually allow me to raise the nose a bit, sort of oscillate a bit. I wonder what this looks like on the outside. Yeah. Nasty. Slats are in. That's what it looks like from the passenger view. Imagine Wagon, hello to you. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well. I'm doing well. So just holding the nose there. And it'll just balance around. If I let go of the side stick now, it should lower the nose to put us back on the top of Alpha Prots. That's quite a ridiculous angle of climb it's managing. So now let's push down. But it feels big and heavy. So let's clear out the auto throttle. Something else it does. Coordinating an airplane of this size, and what I mean by coordinating is flying a coordinated turn. So those of you who do general aviation, or anyone, I'm sure lots of you will be familiar with this term, where you want to turn the aircraft, and as you turn, you need to coordinate it so it doesn't side slip. So you will put rudder in normally, or a little bit of rudder on smaller propeller aircraft. Jet aircraft, you don't tend to need to do it. It doesn't happen very often. But this aircraft's very long, and it does actually benefit from a bit of rudder, especially at low speed, and most aircraft do. The 777 has a rudder tie-in with the yoke, so when you do big yoke movements, it will put in a bit of rudder. This has the fly-by-wire system. The Airbus fly-by-wire system does, a normal law, does cover the, let's turn back towards Toulouse and make sure we don't go too far. It does cover the rudder channel, hence why we had rudder trim available. Let's just reset that to 0. Anyway, you can see it here, as I raise the nose, let's put it to the back, and then make large inputs. You'll see that rudder. So there we go, right, and then left. You can see it switching and forcing the nose to stay coordinated, which happens worse and worse at lower speeds, of course. Hence, you get larger deflections. So look at that. I'm doing no rudder input at all. This is just on the side stick. I just love seeing it. I love seeing a demonstration of it and seeing how that's just side stick movement. Seeing how the Airbus flight control laws interfere with the all axes of the aeroplane. This will be a bad aeroplane to stir the porridge, where you end up doing this with the side stick, where you're just moving it around far too much. Because what will happen is the people at the very back, sat back here, will feel that rudder input, and it will start to make them feel very sick if they were sat there for this for too long. I would imagine, I don't know this is true, if anyone sat at the back of one of these going on holiday, I would imagine sitting at the back of this, you could feel that rudder or the yaw damper happening quite easily. Yeah, just look at that. You can just see it just twitching there. Hello, William. Thanks for coming along. I'm enjoying it a lot. Hope you are as well, or you will when you get your chance. Price, Louis, for the A340 is not yet said. Dougal, thanks for coming along. I'm so sorry I haven't seen any chat. I've been treating this a little like a video recording, so I've been a little more talkative and a little less reading of the chat. So I hope you're all enjoying it. What we're going to do now is descend back in towards Toulouse and fly an arrival. So 8,000 feet. I'm going to put the flight directors on. I'm going to do an open descent to 8,000 feet, and I'm going to do that at a speed of 250 knots. Flight directors on, autopilot, auto throttle. So in thrust idle, open descent. I don't want to be in track. Let's go into heading. We're just setting on downwind right now. Auto throttle off. That can clear out. Good. So what I can do is go to landing performance, and I can change this all around to be Lima Foxtrot. Oh no, hold on. Lima Foxtrot Bravo Oscar. Enter. You'll be. We'll land on 1-4 right. No surprise at all. Why is it taking 1-4 left? Have I set 1-4 left in here? I did 1-4 left. There we go. That's no good. 1-4 right. Zulu. Insert. Yep, we're heading downwind. That's good. And let's just make sure we have the right performance in still. Good. Okay, so we can compute that. It does it at the current weight, and you can see loads of margin, and that's with auto brake set to low. So I'm going to do that now. Thrustmaster TCA works very well with this, by the way. That's what I'm using here. Okay, the irony of me saying that and then immediately not working. It's only going to 2, not 1. So sorry, not low. So we'll go to auto brake 2. There we go. We're going to use half the runway because we're so light. No trouble at all. Great. So let's head straight in. 11,000 feet. I'm going to increase the speed a bit and use the speed brakes. Not so effective. These are more classic Airbus speed brakes I've found. So talking about the landing of this airplane, it is obviously very different to an A320. Part of the reason is it is a big, heavy airliner. Heavy jets just land differently, of course. It's also very long and sort of awkward as it comes in on final approach. Let's bring up the LS. Got the landing lights on, passenger belts are on. Okay, and we're going to go down now to 5,000 feet on QNH. And obviously I've synchronized my baro. And how far have we got? That's 10 miles away. We're at 10,000 feet. Yeah, speed brakes are needed at full. So to land it, you need to flare earlier. 50 feet, you need to have it stable. If it's not stable, you might need to start your flare early. But the average starting point is 40 feet. You need to adjust from there. Just like in a 320, it's 30 feet, but you might adjust a bit higher or a bit lower depending on the day. In this aircraft, it's 40 feet. You might need to adjust accordingly. Now, what you will find as well is it needs more flare. Now, there's been some talk about why this might be. It's obviously a big airplane with lots of momentum. The other thing is when you idle those engines, you've got 4 big fans which all start to act as an air brake. They're not too strong, they're not like a turboprop, but with 4 engines idling, that's a lot of drag. You go from from approach thrust to idle. It's a big change in thrust. Yes, it's an Airbus. Yes, it has normal law to protect it, but that still has an impact. Next thing is the tailplane on A320 aircraft, even as you rotate and it gets too close to the ground, it goes in ground effect, and that can blank out the elevator. It can adjust the lift on the tail, and you can lose some authority. That's why on takeoff on a real A320, just as you get through a certain point in the pitch and rotation, you have to actually squeeze a little more on the side stick. So the reverse is true on this aircraft, because this tail obviously is going to get close to the ground as we flare, because it's such a long airplane, it will get close. And it has a similar effect where you can lose a bit of that authority. So it takes a fair more chunk of side stick than I was used to in other aircraft, and it caught me off guard, I'll tell you that. Let's have a look at, actually, oh, not that one. Let's have a look at the map. Sorry, at the screen. There you go, look at that. It does actually have a map up, but the speed brake's definitely not deployed. And the gear is retracted. How cool. Right, let us go, there we go, 5,000 feet, direct. So we're going to have a couple of goes at landing here. Insert, nav, 10 miles away. We'll keep the speed at 270. 5,000 feet. So the flare takes a bit earlier than you expect, and a bit more side stick than you would expect as well. TPR says, how are you liking this? I'm loving it, and I hope that's coming across. There are things that some simmers will be looking for that this doesn't do, I would have thought, and by that I mean if you're really all about just the visuals, then I think this is a very nice looking add-on, but it's is it the best looking add-on we've seen in Microsoft Flight Simulator? I don't think so. I think in some areas there are, there's just some amazing competition out there. It's still a very good looking add-on, don't get me wrong. But what this aircraft does is it's a great looking aircraft, but it has such unbelievable systems depth and this state saving over here. We're going to see how powerful it is. I know I haven't really used it yet, but we'll see how good it is shortly. I absolutely love it. Oh, there's the meter. I could have just used that. So yeah, it's fantastic. And if you like trying out different things, if you like just flying these airplanes and giving them a bit of a test, then this is so good. If you like practicing engine failures or something like that, then this is so good as well. Price guess, they've just said in line with the market, so I don't have an answer for exactly what that is going to be, but here we go. So we're now coming into the ILS. It's 3,000 feet, so let's descend down to 3,000. Let's manage the speed. Let's make sure the approach is activated. 5,000 feet, 17 miles out, 270 knots, speed brake time. It does include, by the way, there is another camera view they include on the back of the wing. But who wants that when you've got 4 engines, right? We need to see the front. But it does show you the rather ineffective speed brakes. There we go. Very versatile on the flaps. Flap 1, like I say, at 280 is very good. That's much more than the 777. So we'll take flap 1. And now it's Airbus, so we can let it do its thing. So yeah, we're going to get a landing here, and I'll save it. Remind me to save it on final. Plus, we have a replay feature. I can't wait to show you that as well. And this is where I'm going to get really excited about what this add-on can provide. TPR says, fantastic. I've been waiting to try my first wide-body or Airbus add-on, and this will fit both categories for me. Yes. Yes, ToLiss know, they just know the Airbus so well. Let's get rid of that. Speed brakes away, 220 knots at 13 miles, absolutely fine, and we're slightly below profile. Pull the VS, arm approach, second autopilot, and you see all of this work, speed VS, Cat 3 dual AP1+2, so familiar to A320 pilots. We'll take flap 2. Flap 2 a little harder, because of course it is time for the drag out the back of the wings. Incepting the localizer. Here we go, lighting. 2024's lighting is very nice, the shadows and so on. Oh yeah, I do want the camera up. I want to see the gear come down. Remember, we are just starting our stream here, really. We're going to take this for a full normal flight in just a moment. You can see the go-around marked in blue, which is nice. There's the glide slope. We'll put 4,000 feet in case of a missed approach. 180 knots, 9.5 miles. Let's put the gear down. I wonder if it animates. That would be amazing if it does. Or does it just pop into view? Oh, there it goes. There's the nose gear. There it goes. I don't know how they've done that. Let's take flap 3. I want the airplane to slow down. Lots of drag from these engines if you need it. Now here's what I want to show you as well. Not a flyby view. That middle gear, watch. So it sits tilted forward. By the way, I like the streaks and so on coming out of the air conditioning packs. That is what airplanes look like. So just have a quick look. Look at this main center gear. The way it folds in is absolutely mad. It goes sort of completely inverted. I had no idea it was like this on this aircraft. What a piece of design and engineering. Right, we've got to get the gear out again. Still got time, still got time. Right, let's get rid of the camera. It only works, by the way, on the SD page during flights, not afterwards. Sorry, not on the main screens. Right, cabin. Let's give them a ding dong. We'll go flaps 3 and flaps full. And we need to arm ground spoilers. Flaps landing. There we go. Okay. So let's fly a little bit closer. There's the runway. Ignore those 3 reds. We're pretty happy with our 2 whites, 2 reds over here. And what I'm going to do is just go to situations. I'm going to start typing the file name. So remember, you might think, oh, I want to save this. So what you can do is go to Aircraft Sim Control, freeze all, startup situations, and then you can do LF, oh, if you can spell, LFBO, and then final, or whatever code you come up with. And now let's go back. Will it save that? Yes, it will. So let's just continue. And you'll see it will save everything. It will save the fuel, the trim, the weights. It will change, put all the sequences right. I have spent so long reconfiguring Microsoft Flight Simulator for my replays and so on, because I do a lot of replays on the channel, and this is a feature I absolutely love. And I used to find it so much easier to make videos in X-Plane because of this feature in ToLiss. I could get a video done in half the time because I could maneuver it around. I could show a failure, and then I could show it again with something different, or how you might do it wrong, or how it might go well, you know, and I could just keep doing it. So we're 3,000 feet, so let's go to situations, LFBO final, save. And hopefully, there it is. Now we also have, if you can believe it, sounds. I can adjust all the sounds. I hope you can hear them. And you can do a replay. And you can see here, we've been going, and it has a replay running all the time. So I'll try and show you that shortly. Right, wish me luck then. So A340, we're landing with a tailwind. Not a great idea. Autopilot off. Key thing here is it needs an earlier flare and a stronger flare. It doesn't need a larger pitch change than normal. It has good ground effect. It just needs a bit more side stick than normal. Creeping a little bit high. Flare. Idle. There's touchdown. Even that was a bit of a thump. But now I'm almost full backstick, keeping this nose up. And there we go, there's touchdown. So that was a flare from 40, and I still had to give it a good go there. And there we go, rolling out. Awesome. Water brake engaged, reverses out. So this feature is fantastic. So let's release the brakes, and now the aircraft can just roll. So I'm not too happy with that. That wasn't the best landing I've ever done. We can have a bit of a replay. So if I go to replay mode and just drag this back, check this out, play. Look how seamless that was. And now there's the autopilot disconnecting. The replay tool I use, I get asked all the time, how do you do your replays? And the replay tool I use relies on me manipulating the controls. I have to put the flaps back in the right position and all sorts of things. This one, look, the engine's in the right place, the throttles are in the right place, even though my hardware isn't. And my hardware is not overriding that. I can move them around. It doesn't do anything. This is a complete replay of what happened. The only thing I can see is the MCDU is not in the right sequence. That has set there. But look, the automatics are flaring. I want to see it again. Pause. Rewind. 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 This is crazy to me. I can't believe it's taken us this long to get something like this when it was possible all along. That's sort of what's blowing my mind. We're in the, how many years of Flight Simulator now? 6th year. And here it is. This is what we've all been waiting for. A built-in functional replay that works this well. And here it is. You can see here. So I did flare. It wasn't too bad, actually. It wasn't too bad. And it was in the right part of the touchdown zone. So maybe I should be happier with that than I was. We go too much for smooth landings in streams, definitely. Pause. Rewind. See it again. And you see how smooth it is. You see the modes all coming to life. It's crazy to me. Play. A bit of a wing view. You can even hear the engine spool up there as they try and flare. There's touchdown. And we're down. Yeah, so the 328 you're seeing on the screen is from my replay software. That gets its data slightly differently to the ToLiss flight model and so on. And there's always been a bit of lag in it. So because that was quite a short sort of flare, it didn't have time to register the actual sync rate. But there you go. So now I can just exit replay mode by tapping that. It puts us back where we were. And then you go, okay, so now everything's a mess. Fuel, flaps, all sorts. So how do we get going again for our flight? Because I wanted to take this aircraft now up to Heathrow for our delivery. Well, all I can have to do is go set up situations. In fact, I could practice that landing again. LFBO final. LFBO final. Now, what you don't want to do is accidentally click one that's like on the other side of the planet, because it'll make your sim very unhappy. Situation load. Watch this. Please work. And we're away. Can you even believe it? And then now this is an interactive. The MCDU is loaded correctly. I can change things around and I can wind the altitude. We could fly the go around. Oh yeah, I set the parking brake, so there you go. It's giving me the warning. But this is a working airplane, and we can try the landing again. So you could put in more of a crosswind this time, you know, and it's saved, and that's saved there forever. I could load up at a different airport in a different fuel and whatever else, and then just put it here, and it'll be all correct. Autopilot off. Let's try once more. Because what's better than landing airplanes, eh? That's what we all really want to do. The replay is only for the A340. The replay I use for my other aircraft is not built in. It works exterior. And it doesn't work as well as this one.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard,
Idle.
retard,
There we go. Bit more of a floater, but that probably registered a bit better for the my overlay. And we're down. And you could just do this. Think what flexibility this gives you. You could do a really long flight and then get a second go at the landing. What fun is that? Absolutely brilliant. It is brilliant. And what I'm going to do now is just... I won't bore you too much with this, but I'm going to enter replay mode. Oh, I might have pushed it too far here. What have I done wrong? Let's leave replay mode. Here we go. See? Even there, even jumping around like that, and you see it's just saved this flight. It's got 1 hour 52 to 1:53. So let's have a quick look at this landing and then we'll go and do our flight. I think this one, we had a bit of an earlier flare here, but a bit of a float. Such a big aeroplane. Look at the size of it. Holding it off, and you'll see as well, watch the gear, main gear, middle gear. It does the 2 separate landings on the wheels as you would expect it to. So they're all sort of they're animated properly. If we play that again, oh, I thought we were in the air, but it's just because the nose wasn't down yet. So you'll see there's the proper flare. You'll see these back wheels spin up as they touch down. Then this one spins up, and then it all settles down as the spoilers dump it onto the main gear. Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. So exit replay mode, because remember that's a toggle. It's something to get used to. For that, I'm going to put the gear, flaps, let's bring it to a stop. And again, this is how when you go to work and you train in the simulators at work, this is how it is. And then we'll go to situations. And by the way, ToLiss are providing their own situations with wind shear, engine failures, things like that for you to practice. I haven't tried those yet. They came out quite late. But I'm going to do LFBO stream takeoff, situation load. Yes, Bathmic Nav, I agree. Saying watch this is always a... Yeah, passengers don't like hearing that. And here we go. Parking brake is set, flaps are at 1, speed brakes are armed, ready to go. Cabin's ready, park brakes set, we've got 30 tons of fuel again, and we're all set to go up to Toulouse. The only thing I need to do now is I need to engage nav. 138 climb nav, 152, 7,000. We've got RTO armed, and I'm just going to go to the weather. Let's put it to live weather. Now I can't actually go on VATSIM today because we're not at the engine start point, and it's 4 o'clock now. I think I'll do a normal flight from here. So live weather we can do, and then we can go to takeoff performance and just check nothing's changed. So if I reset that now, it would take the actual weather. Compute 138, 1 plus F 70, 158, 166. 166. So there's the new performance for that weather. And what up 2.7 is still in. The trim is up 2.7. What I do want to do as well is just make sure we don't have any faults ready. Okay, and there you go. We're ready to go again. Can you change the sim rate through the aircraft like in the MCDU EFB? You can do it through the EFB. We'll see the sim rate change very, very shortly. 4Pro, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well, and thank you very much for supporting the channel. I saw you did that in between our last stream, so thank you. Really appreciate it, 4Pro. It's very, very kind. Right, so let us line up. So clear on approach, lights are on, clear on the right. Now let's actually go for a flight. So this is what this airplane is going to be doing if you're taking it out on VATSIM. Got lots of rain, so hopefully we'll see some rain as we go as well. I like the sounds on it as well. I think they're very nice. So we'll see a full performance takeoff. Oh, and let's set the correct QNH 1019. There we go. Yeah, this will roar into the sky. What would be quite fun is to take this max weight on a really hot day at out of somewhere at 40 degrees and high elevation, see how it does. I think this airplane has plenty of power. It's not underpowered like the 340-600 was. Okay, here we go. I like it. I think it's very pretty. Like I say, this was my absolute favourite airliner growing up. I just loved seeing it. I saw this display at Farnborough Air Show. We went a bit far there with our turn. Too busy with the camera angles. Let's bring it back in. Yeah, I saw this display at Farnborough International Air Show when it was empty, and it did an absolutely amazing performance back when it was brand new in the early 2000s. Right, let's go. Half size thing. I sort of can't believe we're ready to go again. If you think about all the things we've had to do there, I'll put the weather radar on. You would actually have the weather radar on. Let's do it. Let's have that on just now. And we'll start the chrono, which we didn't do last time. 2 clicks. But the flexibility, the practice this can give you, the details you can go into with the aircraft, it's just unbelievable when you have this level of flexibility. Side 6 to neutral, 100 knots. Lovely ground handling. I really like it. You can see it's not twitching left and right. Rotates. Nice and gentle. Let it take the lift onto the wings, and before it lifts up all those landing gear, we don't want to strike the tail. You can see the pitch limit indicator is at 10 degrees like it does on the 321. Positive climb, gear up. Man flex 70 and nav, that's good. There's a gear tucking away, upside down. Absolutely bizarre. Yeah, the zoom's very aggressive on chase plane, I do agree. Put the autopilot in, because we're going to have to deal with some weather. Here comes some rain. Pretty good. It's going to accelerate at 2,000 feet. There we go. Acceleration. Leave us back 1 click. Thrust, climb, auto thrusts. Should reach 4,000 a little better, a little quicker this time. Leading edge slats look weird. Yes, RB211. Yes, I know what you mean. I'm not convinced about this texture. The more I see it, and also seeing it in the grey light. It looks good in the sunlight, but I think the grey lighting can sometimes change the way that some of that texture looks. Right, we're above S speeds. This auto retraction does happen. Even at this weight, it's auto retracting. So it must be quite an interesting takeoff at high weights. And flaps up. Disarm the ground spoilers. And get rid of any nose lights. Once we get to 4,000. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's a shame. The rain's running vertically down the window. I haven't seen that before. It looks like we're sat on the ground, but the front is working just fine. It does have working windscreen wipers. I wouldn't use them at this speed, but they actually work very well. We'll probably get the chance to see those coming into London in a minute. So we've got more features to look at. We've got I've written a few things down here I wanted to show you. We've got the oh yes, we need to go to standard flight level 70. Not that one, that one. And we can do our climb. We're climbing up to 340 today. Let's put that in the window. We'll just climb straight up. Out cruise arm 340 because it has an out cruise, and the fact it arms it, that's I think that's a more modern feature of Airbus's. Original 320s don't do that. Weather radar looking pretty good. The tilt doesn't function. I believe that's just a feature of Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. So you can adjust it around, but what you do get is just the weather in front of the airplane. You can stop the chrono. I'm just trying to remember all the things I used to do in an Airbus, really. It's been a while. There we go. And you'll see once we get sun on that wing, that I think that starts to look a bit nicer. You see the G-force like pushing the camera down to the seat. That's Chase Plane G camera. Getting quite excited. So we go through 10,000 feet. Lights off. Despite that shaking up at the seatbelt signs to auto. And we'll go to airport on our ICAS. Not ICAS, what am I talking about? EFIS. So we're underway. So what I'm going to do is we'll take it up to the top of climb, because then I can actually start talking to the chat a bit more and start answering any questions, and we can chat in general, really, because it's been a little while. So yeah, very good. But yeah, as you can tell, the ToLiss magic is here, I think. And remember, this is a preview version, and like I say, I was in a little bit of a test, a closed beta group just at the very end there. So that's my full disclaimer. No release date for this one, sadly, no, but hopefully soon, if all is going well at the moment with it. So, other things we can do in here, which we'll see shortly. You can adjust around. This is for sort of home cockpits, whether you want your tiller assigned or not. I just do it on the rudder, as you can tell. You can adjust the brake strength, which helps with that sort of a more normal sensation. But you would also allow brake on one pedal. That's if you're using racing pedals for your flight sim. I don't think many flight simmers do that, to be honest, but that is an option. They thought of it. They must know someone who does. Over here you can configure your throttles. I've got them configured all on the same axes, so I can go into reverse on my current axes, which is pretty good. Pretty easy, very easy to set up. In fact, didn't have to do anything in Microsoft Flight Simulator, adjusted it through here. This is where I've got my VAT sim, and then you can do Hoppy if you use Hoppy. But what we wanted to look at was... let me try and get the right page for this. So sim rates, there we go. We can increase the sim rate. So here's a cool feature about this aircraft. The simulation rate down here, you can adjust this, and as you increase it, the flight model will update to the same speed. So it doesn't suddenly find itself unable to turn sharp enough because of the sim rate. It updates at the same speed. So you can do that quite well. I wouldn't do it in the climb, but there we go. Oh, there you go. TPR does use racing pedals for the rudder. So TPR might use the third pedal for the racing pedals for a brake pedal. There you go. So they thought of you. It goes up to sim rate 4. Oh, no, I might have pushed it too far. Now I'm scared. There you go, that's 2. 4. I saw it said 8 there, but that must have been because it glitched. So there we go. You've got to give it a second. Treat it gently, but it can do it, even with a turn. There you go, Laku. I'm curious to see it level off, because we know what a level off in an Airbus looks like. And this airplane has plenty of performance. So let's see. This is 4 times sim rate. 50 knot tailwind. It's going to be a quick flight. No wonder it wanted that fuel. Sorry, the wind's loaded in. 33. I just want to see it activate. Mac out cruise. And there we go. Look at that. Very steady indeed. So that works really nicely. 2, 1. Look, there's a slight jump when you do that, but aside from that, absolutely brilliant. Also, noise cancelling, which is a really nice feature as well. I do think the sounds are good, though. I've been impressed with the sounds in this aircraft more than I imagined I would be, and that's not to say I thought they'd be bad. I just wasn't expecting to like them. I didn't think they'd be quite as nice as they are, but that'll be up to you to judge watching this. Like I say, I'm going to try and make a video with this as well, where I'll give you a bit of a better balance on sound and things. Streaming can be a little tricky. So there we go, up in the cruise. Look at that. It takes no time at all. Oh, I need to load in my Fly Live. So this is a delivery flight now. We're happy with the airplane. We're very impressed with all its features. So hopefully, yes, the overlay will start to work. No, I don't think I have 8 times is not available. 4 times is the sim rate. You can have auto pause, by the way, if you get, so you can turn this on and it will automatically pause if any warnings occur, or warnings and cautions, or on warnings and cautions on top of descent. The reason you might want that is because if you have fault scenarios turned on, enable random faults, then it could happen while you're away from the computer or something. So there you go. Now, there's another feature. More features. Endless features. So look at that. Charlotte is the waypoint coming up. And if you're flying Oceanic, you might have a lot of waypoints. But what you can do is you can go to... Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, and there's 3D sound fading, by the way. So it moves the engine sound around. Now there's somewhere here, and it's going to bug me now because I've used this feature, unless it's been removed in this version, in which case I should not talk about it too much. Actions. Actions, jump to next waypoint, or select a waypoint from the MCU. So this is another top-notch feature that it's something that I can't believe we haven't had already. Now I see it. It's so obviously such a good idea. So I can jump to next waypoint. This only works if you're in level. If you notice, if I disconnect the autopilot and bank the airplane, of course, then it's not available. It grays out. But if I put the autopilot in and let the airplane stabilize, it will come up with the option jump to next waypoint. Like I say, it doesn't do it in turns and things like that. So we'll let it do that. Dougal says a lot of thought and planning has gone into that AFB. It has indeed. Yeah, it's quite something. Captain McGee says the wing leading edges need a lot of improvement, I feel. First match the real aircraft. Dare I say they look like the Flight Factor 757 leading edge modelling. I think the modelling looks fine. I'm not worried about the shape. And like I say, when the sun's on the wing, I think it looks really nice. I just agree that in certain lighting, that texture can sometimes, on those big slats, they're very chunky slats. But that is true of the slats on an aircraft like this, of this size. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. But again, this is here to show it to you. I just think the texture sometimes looks a little bit, it's got a sort of film over it or something like that. Look at the modelling, by the way, on the nav lights and so on, though. You can see that there's a lot of detail in here. And like I say, the RAT also does deploy. And the RAT on this aircraft is really interesting. It deploys from one of these pylons. It doesn't deploy from the fuselage like we're used to on A320s. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because that would be too low to the ground. It is quite a low airplane. It sits very low on the ground. Anyway, there we go. Jump to next waypoint. And it just skips forward to, how far are we? 6 miles. There you go, from Charlotte. And you could do that. So if you wanted to skip forward the whole flight, you could clear out your flight plan and skip forward. Or go in here. Again, it won't work because we can't turn. But I could pick the waypoint after that. So I go flight plan. So Mannock. We could skip all the way to Mannock. It won't let me do it until we make this turn. So I'll just let it do the turn. And I could increase the sim rate. Yeah, like I say, you could get through a long haul flight very quickly on this. You could literally jump through to wherever you think your step climb will be. Do the step climb, jump through, do the next step climb, and then jump through to the top of the descent. I mean, it's quite amazing. What we should do, actually, is also set up an arrival. Can we see landing performance? EGLL. What's the wind there? Yeah, easterly. It's RLS9 left. And today we're arriving via Roxog, which thankfully has the VIA already included. Boeings don't bother. I don't know why. And now, if we go to joystick actions, it's in actions. And then I can just select the next waypoint, CNA, which is just up there. And then I say skip. And now we're here. It just drops us off. Now that has upset it a little bit. It's destabilized slightly. That seems a little harder than the next waypoint for it to do. But yeah, what a feature and what a great idea. I think there is a way to refresh it to include, I'm not sure how many waypoints it can store actually. It's only got to Rev 2 because that was what was in the flight plan when we started. But I'll be curious to see if it could adjust to the star. But you wouldn't ever jump to the star, because what it would do is it would just drop you at 34,000 feet on the star. So that would be no good at all, really. Out of interest, Manak, we've got 24.3 tons of fuel. Let's see if it changes the fuel. I don't think it will. I don't see why it would. 24.3. Yes, it does. Look at that. It even dropped the fuel. Wing flex slider. Okay, so aircraft sim control, wing flex strength, save. There's the wings. Wing flex is quite subjective. I prefer a little more wing flex than I think some other people do. I think this airplane had quite bendy wings from what I've seen, the pictures of it, but that's all. There's a lot of people who have different thoughts on that. Yeah, I can't believe you can jump and it even takes the fuel out. I wasn't expecting that. So there's the wings. Try and picture that. Remember that. And let's wing flex down to minimum. No. I'll just change page to make sure that has registered. Yep. There you go. Now they're at minimum. Which I think is a little too flat. But you have the option. It's not terrible. It's not like it's a... I just don't... I think it would bend a bit more than that. That one guy, hello to you. Thanks for coming along. Chris Patton says, can't wait to get my hands on this one. Looking forward to finally having the ToLiss flight model in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, not to mention all the other bells and whistles. Yeah, indeed. Watch my engine failure on takeoff and you'll see that the flight model is very, very enjoyable. I think people will be caught out by the landing, like I say, because I was. And I hope people don't think that's because it's a bad flight model. I hope they realise it is totally achievable, a nice landing in this airplane. You've just got to get that flare in and make sure you keep the pitch where you want it. Yeah, so probably somewhere in the middle. I think that's a good place for it. Maybe more than that even. I like wing flex. Something I have noticed, if you put the wing flex to maximum, it sort of means the wings are already bent too much. I can try and show you. So if we set wing flex strength to maximum, save. It means that now, if I go pitch up, they can't bend anymore. The model seems to reach its limit. So you find that it looks a little bit unnatural. So I wouldn't recommend going to maximum, because you can see here, we've got plenty of nose down and they can flex down. But if I then pitch up, they just sit where they were also sitting already. And then when now I've let go, there's no change. You see, I don't like that. So I would not recommend that. I would definitely put it somewhere in the middle or slightly towards. Thrust out open descent 340. Somewhere towards the right. But nice to have the option. Sorry, I can't read the name. It ends in R6N. Hello, Captain. What's the farthest away you went on your job? I mean, longest flight. Sorry, my English ain't good. No need to apologise at all. It is my fault for only speaking English. But the furthest I've been, I've done, like I think I've said before, I've done 14.5-hour flights. So I have gone as far as Tokyo. You can't really go any further from the UK or Europe. Before you start coming back again. So yeah, and I have now flown around the world as well, which is crazy when I think about it. Peter, Dr. Tilkington says, most important non-A340 question. Any thoughts on how F1 season is looking, and are you watching the Melbourne tomorrow? So yes, big news on the Formula 1. They've had their first little test run, and there's a lot of unhappy voices. It seems like the cars are very different this year. because of everyone's heard this, because of the change in the battery and the power systems. The drivers are having to drive them very differently. I'm happy to see. I think I like Mercedes. I think Mercedes doing well is no bad thing for me to enjoy it, but I can understand that people don't want a season where just one team can just dominate. So I am hoping we've only seen one qualifying, and I think the teams have been struggling with working it all out. Let's hope that there's a way for the other teams to close the gap and make sure that we have something competitive to go with. But I do also think George Russell is very capable of winning a championship. Oh, this is, again, chase plane hitting a bit of turbulence there, I think. It's interpreted that as. PGDR, has Yes Papa contacted you earlier this week? I was in contact because of music. Yeah, I need to speak to Yes Papa about something else, so I will get in contact with Yes Papa, definitely. Tom says, you may as well get up for the 4 a.m. start when you spend half your time jet lagged anyway. The start could be interesting. Yes, there's also a bit of controversy over the starting rules and so on. So yes, I might try and watch the start. That would be good. R6N says, did you hear they're searching for MH370 again? 370 disappeared, departed near me. Thank you for answering. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I had heard that they were looking again, but yeah, I saw someone asking earlier, do I know anything or have any thoughts? I really don't know. Mark Bodis hasn't watched F1 for years. There you go. The phrase super clipping. Yes, I heard that, the very average pilot. I have heard already that people think the phrase super clipping. Lauren B's been getting into the March Sumo tournament, also starts tomorrow. So been getting into that lately. Should be perfect timing to get right into the top 2 divisions after the race. Excellent. Yes, of course, because Formula 1 will be very early in the morning tonight for us in Europe. Yes, of course. Yes, but I said I'm waking up at the start and then seeing how long I stay up for. Excellent, yes. Kylie McQueen says, what do you miss the most about flying the A320? Yeah, great question. It's always a good question because it occurs to me a lot. Oh, by the way, this is little details. This coffee cup appears automatically. Earlier it was the ID when the doors were open, and now we get a little coffee cup. Just keep us going throughout the flight. And this is an Airbus, so very important that it has a lid on it. Just trying to manoeuvre my seat. I've got a lot of cables around me today for some reason. Yeah, so I quite like that. Yeah, I miss the flight deck ergonomics. I think they're excellent. The tray table in particular, of course, is unmatched. I also like the sunshades. I miss those. Even the A320's single sunshade was better than what we have on the 777. I'd say that. But these, I'm sure, are just fantastic. Because sitting on a long-haul aircraft with the sun there, oh, it's no fun at all. You don't want it on your face the whole time. I wear sun cream at work, and I put as many sort of shades up as it's possible to make sure it's as reduce the glare. It's very tiring. Good lighting though on Microsoft Flight Simulator, the way those clouds are hidden. The clouds are looking good today. Very good. And I miss the ergonomics of the FCU. The FCU is one of the best designed things in aviation. It's so clever. The push-pull, how you can do so much with so little movement and also have it be so clear. I think it's very good. I think the Boeing one has a lot of buttons and they're not quite as instinctive, but that's just because I've did a long time flying Airbuses. That's probably the reason I say this. I've seen Boeing pilots who have been pure Boeing. They've flown all the Boeings and they are amazing at what they can do with the MCP in the Boeing. And one final thing I'll say, whilst I don't miss the thrust levers not moving, I like the fact that they move on the 777. I really do. I like the hold mode it provides. There is a genius feature of the Airbus in that because they have it set up like this, when you idle them, it disconnects the auto throttle system. And that is so good for rejected takeoffs and some maneuvers. And I do think that is a great piece of design. Having the auto throttle system just cut off when you move them there, it sounds, well, that sounds pretty obvious, but it's actually really a great piece of design. Mark says, you must have the only job where you have to wear sunscreen inside. So yeah, it's a big topic amongst pilots. Do we need sun cream on the flight deck? Basically, windows obviously protect from UV by default, but there is an awful lot of UV in a flight deck. Now, how much there is and whether you need it, I really don't know, but you don't get sunburnt. But I feel like there is more UV than, there's a lot of UV. You're up above the atmosphere, you've got thin air, and the sun can beam in at you, and it can beam straight into your face. If you're flying to America, it'll be on the nose of the airplane for the entire flight, for 10 plus hours, 11 hours. So it's not quite the same as just saying, well, inside my car I won't get sunburned, because you're unlikely to sit in your car for 11 hours pointing directly at the sun up at 36,000 feet. So I think that's why I do it. But not everyone would agree with that. Yes, Airbus Virtual Pilot, indeed. The table, it is absolutely genius. Unbeatable as a piece of design. I hope you can hear me. I'm just going to look at the audio. How is the audio? Am I too quiet outside? I keep making that mistake where I start chatting outside. Freddie says, I was surprised with how similar the FCU is in the Airbus and the MD-11. Indeed, yes. Yep. The MD-11 is, I think, a very interesting piece of design, and some very nice decisions have been made in there. Some are a little bit too far in advance, really. Top of descent already coming up. This is going to be a very short flight. Very short flight. We might have to do a few more things at Heathrow. Maybe we'll do a go-around. Try to go-around in this as well. But yeah, it's a really, really nice thing having the space and to put your feet up. These feet rests, these are great. In the Boeing, there's just a yoke the whole time, as we know. So Navigraph, we have the charts, and I think that's it. SimBrief is in here, so you can load it, change it around, reset it, so you can delete this one and put a new one in. Weight and balance we've seen. Now don't be confused. If you do get this aircraft whenever it comes out, if you have set payload and fuel on, and you have SimBrief set payload and fuel to SimBrief on, as in toggled on, which means highlighted like that, you leave it highlighted, it won't do anything. Clicking on it won't change anything. You leave it highlighted in blue, and then when you load in the flight plan, it will appear in there, and that makes it nice and simple. Weight and balance we've done. Takeoff performance and landing performance we've seen. Reset and computes. Checklists we've been doing. There you go, it had some funding. We've looked at all these saves on this side. Autosave, so if your computer crashed now, we have an autosave situation at most 5 minutes ago. Aircraft config sim control. We have talked about this, so sync barrow, very standard. Simplified terrain, G-loader camera, freeze and motion we've done. Sim rate, flex screen. So I saw someone say, why would you not just simulate the flex correctly? And I think that's an interesting point. I think part of the problem is the wing flex is a little subjective. We don't have much footage of an A340-600 in the cruise and knowing the different weights. So we can't really know it that well. The other thing is some people will just prefer a certain look of wing flex, and it will bug them if it doesn't look like that, whether or not that's directly real. So it is quite a personal taste thing, and I can see why they put in a slider. My guess would be if you put it at the middle, that's closest to what ToLiss think is right. Dr. Dugington, thanks so much for the £3.40 super chat. Dr. Dugington says, been loving the recent content as always. Cheers. Thank you very much. Really, really kind. Thank you for supporting the channel. And thanks for coming along to another live stream. So yeah, thank you so much. If you are enjoying the stream as well, do please leave a like. It makes a big difference to the channel. I'm sure we've got a few new viewers today, so we'd really, really appreciate it if you could leave a like whilst watching. It makes a huge, huge difference. Thank you very much. Flo says, do pilots still wear the traditional GMT automatic watches that used to be so popular? No. I have almost never seen one. No. Audio is fine. Thanks, Airborne Geek. Good to know. And Lauren B says, it might probably a wise investment for most Britons because we don't get much sun. Yes. Do you know when the 787 is going to come out? I don't, sadly. No. I saw that there's a new developer producing a 787. I'm very excited about that, but sadly I don't know when it's releasing, no. Plane spotting. That's so the very average pilot says, I flew back from Hamburg on Thursday, and the pilots were saying that the only time they won't have the sun in their faces on final at Heathrow, as they were already on the 09s. Yeah, that's it. Even short haul flights, you'll have it in your eyes the whole time, and if you land into the sun, that can be a pain. But Airbus has, these are quite good, but I don't know if it's as good as the one in the 320, that big one that folds down. It's exceptionally good. You can maneuver that to block out the sun wherever it is. Yeah, I like that a lot. But as you can see, so a lot of people are asking, how does this compare to ToLiss in X-Plane? And the systems are ToLiss. You know, the flight model and the feeling is ToLiss. It feels just as nice, and it feels exactly the same, including on the ground, which I'm so impressed with. And the Airbus flight control laws and modelling is excellent. Where it's different is the visuals. It just has more eye candy and little bits and Easter eggs and so on, you know, than we're used to with ToLiss. Windows opening, sunshades. So I think it's a good idea. So I did ask ToLiss. I said, well, what was the thought process? Because we haven't seen this. It's a rare thing. I asked why did you choose to go with Aerosoft and do a collaboration? And it was a collaboration between ToLiss and Aerosoft. They met at the Flight Sim Expo, and ToLiss had been looking with a long-term goal to be platform independent, so I suppose to be able to have the product in more places, and thought this was a good step in that direction. So with evaluation and feasibility, eventually they decided that they could do this. So yeah, but it sounds like it took a lot of work, which I'm not surprised at. It takes them years to get these airplanes going. And I have a ToLiss answer here. I don't think I've seen anyone ask this, but I have a answer. If anyone's wondering, will ToLiss collaborate with Aerosoft again, or work on more aircrafts? For example, one you might think of, you might wonder, well, they've done this with the A340-600. Could they not do this with the A330? Aerosoft released an A330 that was long awaited and sadly very disappointing. So the answer for that is and I can answer this. This is word for word. Both Aerosoft and ToLiss entered the collaboration with the hope that it could be expanded eventually. These projects takes years to come to life, and it's only natural to plan ahead. That being said, Aerosoft and ToLiss also agree that it is important to first focus 100% on the smooth release of the A340 Pro. A340 is the shortened name for 340-600. A solid release of this project will help shape the future of this collaboration. So there we go. So this is the focus for now, but it sounds like it's certainly not off the cards that we might see some more aircraft. And I would be, like I say, very happy to hear that. Right, we're already coming up to London, so I'm going to go flight plan and check we've got our arrival, which we did. Radnav is tuned, India Alpha Alpha, that's the ILS for 9 left at London. Progress, I missed this page so much, speaking of things I missed from Airbus. EGLL 9 left. Performance, next. QNH 1. What was the weather in London? Go to landing performance, it's here. So 100 at 11, 9 degrees, 1025. .280 minimums, and if we have an engine failure and we go around, we'll go to around 3,000 feet. Fuel prediction, we got 10 tons extra fuel. Secondary flight plan, we'll just copy the active over. Good. So that is standard sort of Airbus setup of the MCDU. Again, if you know your 320, that'd be fine. By the way, CPDLC will work through here if you do have it fitted. Will they do a long-range 340-500? Asked Nove. I don't know. No, I have no other information other than what I just gave you. Question there, does exterior lighting work? Yes, we did show it earlier. As the simulator has been so nice to us, I'm going to risk showing you now. So let's put all the lights on. So, no, turn off wing lights, let's have those. Good. There we go. The logo lights won't be on because, of course, we are sitting up in the cruise. The wing lights are on. You can see the engines lit up. But yeah, nice. I think the lighting looks very good. Oh, is that? That's that cool sort of fort, isn't it? Wow, that's cool. I've never seen that before. Thanks, Four Prawns. Thanks for coming along. Dirkster says, so chuffed to see ToLiss come to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Really looking forward to getting my hands on this aircraft. Yeah, yeah. No, it's... Well, I'm not here to sell it to anyone. I'm just here to show it. I'm just trying to think of all the things I've enjoyed. Oh, there we go. That has upset it a bit. Interesting. It's interesting the things that do upset it. Something else I wanted to show you. Fuel jettison. Now, there must be a paper checklist for this in the A340 because you can't access an electronic checklist like you do in the Boeing 777. So that does make this look older than the 777, and it is. You know, it's got 4 engines. So I'm not sure of the procedure because you would follow the procedure, but it would involve checking for a fuel leak and all sorts. But if we go to the fuel page, we can actually dump fuel. See here, we've got 3 tons in these inner tanks supplying each engine, and then we have outer tanks at 4.5. And you can remove this split, I think. I'm not sure what this does. Let's press it. I'm curious. Is there any difference at all? No, I've done that. Shut. No, so maybe we've stopped it being able to do something. Basically, if you have an engine failure, it might ask you to do this, and I'm not sure why. But there we go. I'm not sure what I did with that. It may not be to do with fuel. I think it is. Yeah, it's in a fuel panel. But anyway, we can arm the jettison system. And by the way, there's a tail tank as well for trimming. But that's done automatically. Hence, you've got all these pumps here. You can force the fuel in the tail forwards. And then if I go to active, we should see or I need to run the checklist really to make sure this works properly. I'm not 100% sure that's going to actually activate it. It might need fuel to be in different places. I have seen it work. I have used it. There was no visual animation associated with it, but it did work. I'm not sure how we're getting those puffs of smoke out the APU as we cruise either. Not too good. Oh, that's good to see the, yeah, there's the sun visors do work from the exterior. Hello, Med. Med is flying Microsoft Flight Simulator with a PS5 controller gyro. Wow, that's quite something. I have not tried that. There we go. So anyway, it is possible to dump fuel, but I might need a paper checklist to do that. I wonder, is it included in here? No, they don't seem to have abnormal. By the way, there were also, last time I checked, there were no checklists in here either. No. No, they are all built into this EFB. Yeah, I can't think. If anyone has any questions, ask me now. I can't think of anything else to show you on there. I'm sure there's plenty more, but it's I'm doing my best. So, what else did I want to do? We need to set the auto brake, so we'll set the lowest setting my hardware lets me, which is 2, which seems fine. It's quite a gentle deceleration anyway. Coming up on top of descent, 10 tons, which we didn't need, but it won't let me dump any more now. And yeah, I think we're almost there. It is indeed a long airplane, 75 meters. Absolutely ridiculous length. A lot of aircraft these days are also square, and this one is definitely not square. It is longer than it is wide. Just so cool. Love it. Baddock says, those engines and this aircraft look 100 times the A340-600. Yeah, the engines are chunky things. Proper power on these, yeah. Norrington says, I had to dip in and out of the stream, but wondering if you've done a cabin tour. Curious to know if the lower deck crew rest buttons are modelled like with the Lufthansa livery. I have not tried that. We have a little moment. Oh, I need to unlock the door. It won't let us go out otherwise. Weirdly, it works in reverse. Oh, I'm trying to remember my key commands. There you go. For going up and down. You are lucky I remembered that. Now, I don't know where the crew rest is on the 340. Because of the smaller fuselage, I don't imagine it's in the roof. So it would be a unit they put into the hold, I think. Nick says it doesn't look like a wide body, maybe because it's so long. Yes. I agree. It just looks so narrow. Like I say, it's not much longer. Let me just check. What is the 777-300? 777-300 is 73.9 metres. So this is the same length as the PMG 777-300, give or take a metre. So, I mean, that should give you an idea of quite how... Oh, there we go. That looks like a bunk entrance. Yeah, that should give you an idea of quite how different this aeroplane is. It's just that narrow fuselage that makes it look so bizarre. Oh, wow, it's a proper sort of staircase. I've never been on one of these aircraft, so there you go. You go down the stairs, excuse my clumsy camera work, and then here's the... What have we got? Oh, these are the toilets. Wow, I've not seen that. So all the toilets are downstairs. How strange. And then this is the crew rest. Is that modelled? No. Oh, you can hear some voices as well, which is an option in the EFB to have sort of ambient voices. I like that though, having all the toilets sort of there, although I suppose everyone would queue up and down those stairs. I've sat in an A340-600 once. That's the only time I've never got to be a passenger in one of these, and it was cool because you had 2 seats at the back. I think you have 2 seats actually the whole way up on the sides. Is there a rear galley? There is a rear galley. Oh, one of these style. I'm not a fan of these style rear galleys. They're very... a bit like working on a submarine when you stand inside these. And there you go. If you are enjoying it, once again, I'm sorry to ask again, but if you can leave a like, it makes a huge difference. So Joe says, will Aerosoft fix the A330? As I was saying earlier, collaboration between ToLiss and Aerosoft, nothing's confirmed. They're focused on this for now, but it's not. It is a possibility, I think, is my interpretation of the answer I got for that. Yeah, 2 seats on the side, that's nice, but like I say, think of how wide a 777 is, an extra 2 seats. It's a much bigger aeroplane. Much bigger fuselage. That's sort of their selling point for it. Is this 2 seats all the way? Yes, it is. There you go. Problem with this view is you just can't tell you're in a 340. Just the back of the wing. Put up the speed brakes, just have a look. Look how slowly they deploy. See, this is, again, ToLiss doing the right things with the Airbus logic. So they do deploy very slowly. On a Boeing, they're very responsive. Airbus pilots who go onto Boeing, on the long-haul Boeings, have a habit of dropping the spoilers too quickly, because in the Airbus you can just put them out and it will slowly deploy them. Whereas on the Boeing, it would just do it. It does what you say, very sort of Boeing style. That. So yeah, you have to be very careful. Right, top of descent, decelerate. Manually cleared down to flight level 100. I've got constraints, and we're going to push. That is thrust idle des 130. It's the old style, so we don't get any vertical readout here. I'll go to the progress page, and we're 4,000 feet high. So I'll let the airplane try and recapture that. 232 was a real treat. I agree. Fabry says, I have flown twice on a Lufthansa A340-600, and both times I had the honour of using the downstairs box. Yeah, it looks great. What fun. No, it didn't seem to have a cabin crew rest area in there. Just the toilets, as far as I can see. Unless I missed it. Flerbert says, I was reading somewhere, a flight attendant at the front looking down the aisle on takeoff would have been able to see the fuselage flexing. I can believe it. I can believe it. But again, having said that, it's worth remembering that this is not longer than a 777-300 is the same length. 747-8 is longer. A 777X is going to be longer. How long is a 777X? I say 777X. 777-9. It's going to be 76.7, making it the longest twin-engine passenger jet. And 76.3 for the 747-8, yeah. The problem is they can't make them any longer than this. This is the maximum you're going to get these aircraft to, because you can't fit them on stands otherwise. It's the same reason the 777X wings fold up. We're just reaching the limits of what airports can handle as it stands. The A380 was such a big project for airports. You're not going to sell your airplane all around the world in such high numbers if it has to only park on A380 stands but carries less passengers. Although with fuel prices going up, it obviously is advantageous to have two engines. But yeah, you want them to fit on stand, you want them to fit on taxiways. Runways aren't such a problem, but I'm sure there's some certification limits there as well. Med says, remember when we almost had a 787-3? I do. 787-3 was going to be a shorter 787 with folded up winglets. Big wings are more efficient, but they are a problem for airports. So it was designed to be sort of a more regional airplane that would fit into smaller stands and still carry a lot of passengers. It was more to replace the 767. So it was a 787-8 with shorter wings. But yeah, it didn't come about. Not enough demand, I suppose. Right, into the fray we go. You can see it's going to obey the constraints. So this is always a good test of an Airbus. So it's got out magenta 130. So actually, it's going to obey all the constraints all the way down to the runway. I can just put in the platform of the RS. But I won't put in the QNH until we're getting down through the flight level restrictions. So there we go. And we are gradually making it back onto profile. Plus 2,300. We got out magenta 130, but it's by keeping 320 knots, it's doing a good job. Although, yeah, we might struggle a bit later on. We'll see. My boss says, my local airport, London City Airport, is having talks regarding lowering the glide slope. Hopefully they do, so we can see some 20 Neos flying in there. Yes, so London City has obviously a 5.5 degree glide slope. And then one of the runways doesn't even need that because it's you fly in, there's no buildings underneath it, and it's also not got anyone that the noise is an issue for, because part of the reason for the glide slope is the buildings being too close, but also the noise. So yeah, if you could lower that one, that would help, because London City is unique for having short runway and steep glide slope all at once. Jeepazini, we will indeed record the landing touchdown because it's going to happen automatically. Sound/replay, it's recording the whole time. It's fantastic. You don't even have to press record, by the way. Notice that replay mode is just there. It always is working. You can't forget it. It just does it. It's so good. I can't express that enough. You can see, so it's gone from about 1 hour 55 was when we reset. So it does it from your current run, as it were. But yeah, so we've been going for about an hour, just under an hour. It's a very short flight, this. As ever, I've had this a few times recently with tailwinds on my streams. Making my streams shorter than I intend. Right, I think these can go away now. Anything else I need to try? And of course, you've got all sorts of systems in here. So turn off a generator, there you go. Elect Gen 1 off, master caution. Yes, thrust idle dares nav, we're in normal law. It all works well. And then we get the status message. Gen 1's off. You can see that Gen 2 is feeding. You know, it's all very good, isn't it? It's all very very functional. It just works. Imagine having to turn on 4 engine anti-ices every time you need it though. It's annoying enough doing 2 on the 320. Engine anti-ice. Will it show anything on the bleed page? Probably not. No, it doesn't need to. See what's going on. This is a long haul aeroplane, so we can't do 10 minutes to landing. I love it. I think the cockpit looks really nice. And I think the, like I say, the simulation is great. But again, stream is here for you to judge. Used 10 tons of fuel so far. Pretty impressive. So yeah, it's definitely overburning compared to our flight plan, because we were only supposed to burn... We've had a burn of 10.2 for 1 hour 19, and we've already burnt through 10 tons. Yeah, we'll be mostly near idle now for the rest of the flight, but even so. Bad Hawk says, Boeing needs to get the 777Xs out, then get a carbon fibre 757 V2 built. I mean, that would be amazing. That's what they need, yeah. That middle market aeroplane is missing. The 787s are too big. People think the 787 is a bit like a 767, but it's not. It's much bigger than a 767, and it doesn't fill in the market. So if someone can make a 75 replacement, there's got to be a market for that aeroplane. Surely, it was so popular for so long. It's going to be a gloomy evening. Should still be nice and light when we land, though. And then I think we'll give a go-around a go. I need to remember how to do a go-around in an Airbus. Is there a checklist for that? Oh, terrible. So it's, you push them forward to toga, rotate, and you say go-around flaps. And the flaps just go up 1 stage. That's right. So they'll probably go up to 3 if we do it from the flare, or from, from late. Positive climb, gear up, put in the autopilot, make sure you're in nav. And we're in automatic nav, auto nav on go-arounds. This was an airplane that was so old that it had the option not to have that. These days, that's very standard. Because why wouldn't you want the airplane to fly the pre-programmed missed approach, you know? Fleber would put the $10 down payment on a new 757. Excellent. Dougal says, still 40 miles for top of descent for me. No shortcuts. Excellent. Yes, we skipped ahead at the start. So here we go. Now it's going to level off at 13,000. Or flight level 130. I love the Airbus PFD as well. I think this is great. And it's reducing to 220 to obey the speed constraints. Ockham, I suppose. Just got to keep an eye that it doesn't go below the VLS minimum speed. What's the approach speed going to be? Yeah, VAP 152. Fast. Flat forward is fast approach speeds. I've got to say, I'm surprised at that. This airplane makes the 777's approach speeds look pretty reasonable. And that's unusual. Speed out constraints. There we go. It's leveled off. It will slow down. And then shortly it will carry on its descent. There you go. Thrust des. It's working nicely. And that makes sense because now its speed reduction to 220 knots will be a little more gradual. But yeah, I'm surprised that this... Oh, that's good lighting. I'm surprised at this aircraft's high approach speeds, but I suppose it has single slotted Fowler flaps. This is a very modern thing to do for an airliner. Airbus sort of pioneered that a little bit. The 777 still has double slotted on the inner part of the wing, and outside of the engine it has single slotted. The 787 is all single slotted now. What I'm referring to is that when the flaps are down, there's sort of gaps in them, and those gaps were more common. Old aircraft had a lot of gaps. 747s had triple slotted all the way along. But it's more modern now just to have a single slot. They've made the wing more efficient, the flaps more efficient, and that way you've got less mechanisms, less drag, and the airplane weighs less, so it's more efficient. So very normal now. Nicholas says, given that this is the largest variant, the wing loading is probably quite high. It is indeed. That's a good point. I don't know if they've changed the wing from the 340-300s or whether it's exactly the same wing. But that would explain it. High loading. I remember when this aircraft came out as well, it overburnt. It was nose heavy, I believe, is the problem. And you can see that sort of just looking at it, can't you? it looks like there's a lot of fuselage forward of the nose. So that tail is going to have to be sort of nose up the whole time, which means it's producing negative lift, downforce, and therefore drag at the same time. Still, I still think it looks pretty. Coming to 10,000 feet, landing like, oh, it's on, ready to go. Seatbelts are on. Mark says, I lived in Byfleet and could sit watching the planes go around in the Ockham stack. Yeah, so this is the Ockham hold we're coming up to. I won't enter a hold because we'll just fly this arrival. But we've made 250 knots. Look how good this calculation was by the aircraft. 250 knots, passing it nicely. And it did this from a high position with a tailwind. So I just want to point out how good the VNAV is. This was a calculated descent and the aircraft is doing it absolutely spot on. Mark says, it's on the Old Vickers airfield, which I have walked around several times. Yes. Yeah, I believe you can walk around it. Yeah, excellent. So here's the clouds. I always like trying out Microsoft Flight Simulator's weather and just seeing how we think it looks, because it does change quite a lot. This is 2024, remember. It's not bad. I do think X-Plane has managed to somehow pull ahead with the cloud visuals. I think the cloud visuals in X-Planes are just ridiculous. They're just so good. Yeah, you could fly over the ocean with that view and not worry, couldn't you? Dr. Dilton says, I've moved to Horsham and get to watch Gatwick traffic from my home office. Productivity has been negatively impacted. Yes. Yeah, I can imagine. It's very easy to watch airplanes, isn't it? They're always interesting, certainly to me. And LS. We need to turn LS on, something we do have to do. There we go. Landing scales are ready. Swappy, good to see you again. I'm doing very well. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well as well. Right, left turn coming up. Sorry for all the people I've missed in chat. Like I say, unusual stream today. We did a lot of... I don't normally stream aircraft first like this, and also don't normally do sort of failures and things at the start, but thought it'd be fun. It just took a little more talking on my end. There we go. Heading downwind. That's quite a serious looking cloud over there. I would be a little wary of flying through that. Even with low deviation, turbulence damping. Does that bring up any messages? Turb damp off. Yeah, there it is. See, all the buttons have consequences. I think we'll definitely leave that on, please. Except for the toilet occupied light, that seems to always be on. So there we go, 220 knots. It's turned downwind and leveled off to make 70 at Ockham. Nice lighting on the water. Water does sort of glint and reflect like this, and there's a lot of different patches of water down there. That's looking very nice indeed. Very, very nice. Possible tailwind now as we turn base, but again, flying the standard arrival, we should have no issue. Mark says, I can see my old house. Gil says, will this be free? No, this will not be free. Market sort of price, I believe, is the understanding. Blevett says, just wanted to thank you for your amazing tutorial series on the Phoenix A320. After some practice, I am now able to go full cold and dark to touchdown with flight plan. That's fantastic. Glad to hear it. Thanks very much, Blevett. Glad you enjoy it. Okay, this is looking nice. These sort of stratusy clouds here, and you got more cumulously over there. It's this stuff that bothers me. These sort of extra bits it just draws in, and then they go a bit grainy. I'm not sure why. Not sure why. I think they look smoother in X-Plane. Gil says, what is the difference with the Anybuilds version? So this has been made by ToLiss and Aerosoft, and it has a lot of features, very simulation focused features. So if you watch this stream back, I know it's a long stream, I'm going to try and make a video to sort of answer that question, I suppose, and just show it a bit more. But you've got a lot of things you can do, like situation saving and replay and so on, that actually are very powerful tools if you're trying to learn a new airplane or just practice things. And they make for a very nice simming experience. Yeah, that'll be my what I would say about that. What is that light in between auto brake? We've got RTO and our brake setting. Does that show when it's active? Yes, is that the decel light? Tests. Yes, active and decel. There it is. Because of course we don't have a decel on the Boeings. I forgot all about that. Right, flight level 60, and then we're down to QNH. Oh yes, good point, Lauren V. Yeah, the Anybuilds is also not an A340-600, it is the A340-300. So the smaller version, not as long, smaller, less powerful engines, which some people would find, which is also an interesting machine in its own right, famously quite underpowered. High pressure in London, considering the bad weather. Gil says, do pilots in real life enjoy flying this plane, or do they not enjoy? I've only spoken to one pilot who flew this airplane, so I can't really answer that question. I think they enjoyed it, but there are some real 340 pilots out there who were involved in this project, by the way, who will be able to answer that more for you. I can only give you my context, as another long-haul pilot, but yeah. Whether this A340 is a beloved aircraft or not, I really don't know. I liked going on the 340-300 as a passenger because it was so quiet. It was quiet. I remember Airbus advertised it like that, and it was true. Flo says, the replay and save state should be a feature of all payware. I mean, yes. Now I've seen it done this well. I did make a video, a sort of a preparation video for this aircraft in the ToLiss A340-600 in X-Plane 12. And I said in that video, I hope that this situation save comes to it, because it looked just like this. I said, I hope it comes to the Microsoft Flight Simulator version. I don't think it will, or I was worried it wouldn't, and I could not believe when I tried this out and it was there, and in such a complete, robust form as well. You've seen what we've done in this one stream. Well, let's land, and then I'll start waxing lyrical about what we've achieved. So there we go. It's now decelerating, so I need to start getting flaps out. That's one. We're dropping in high here. 9.8 at 4,000 feet is far too high. So speed brakes, flaps 2. And look at that flap relief, a feature I have not seen on the Airbus because the 320 does not have that option. So I'm not sure what it's doing. It is running them. But we've certainly found ourselves high. Possibly, or probably because of that QNH change. So we need to put lower in the window. We need to go down to 2,000. So we're doing a glide slope from above now. So I'm going to arm approach. We're on low glide slope's armed. I'm going to wind the altitude window up out of the way, and I'm going to pull the vertical speed. And let's start with 1,700 feet. And let's lower the landing gear to get the drag out. I can see here, it's not actually, 1,700 might be a little bit much. So let's just wind it back now. 1,500. I want that speed to start coming back. 200 knots at 6 miles is quite sporty. But this is great because we were going to do a go around anyway. The go around of this runway, you can see, is off to the left, and we're going to need to go to 3,000 feet. So this is an impractical approach now. Nose is far too low, just far too fast. It has an inbuilt replay. Yes, it does indeed. Yep, which I'll show for the landing. So actually, we're going to be able to get to the glide slope, but we're going to be 200 knots as we get there. So it's absolutely no good. I can go flap 3 now. There's glide slope star. I go flap full. Now, do the speed brakes stay out on this aircraft, or do they go away like on the 21? It looks like they stay out, actually. So speed brakes away and armed. And we'll ding on the cabin.
1,000.
But there's 1,000 feet. We're 180 knots. We are 25 knots fast. We're not really stable at all. This would be not something your company is likely to be very happy about you doing. So let's do a go around. So thrust levers all the way forwards. We say go around flaps. So go around flaps. Flaps 3. It's got Mantoga SRS nav. Auto throttle is armed. Positive rates. Raise the landing gear. Crucially, it is in nav. And now it's going to climb up to, let's put the go around altitude in, 3,000 feet. Should have done that before we go around. And that's it, through acceleration. Actually, sorry, no, we're not through acceleration. It's gone to outstar, as it would do, the missed approach altitude. So, levers climb. Reach that very quickly. Speed outstar. We're above the F, so let's go to flaps 1. And it looks like we'll have to stay at that. Don't think we can quite get to clean. So that did not work. Let's do a fly. Oh, getting gloomy out there. As you see, all those systems worked just as you would hope. Oh, we can hear the pumps running now as the flaps auto retract. That's cool. Yeah, that's good. It's working hard here. You can see the turbulence. I wonder what the wings look like. Not a flyby view, please, please. There we go. Wow, we're lost in sort of a June-style haze here. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator's weather. Right, so there we go. So go around, totally flyable. It's dumped us out. Let us go into heading. We'll take a left downwind as if we're being vectored back around for a second approach. So we'll turn downwind, and we'll do all the other bits and bobs we need to do. 270. Speed out heading. It's turning around. I'm going to pull the speed just so it doesn't do anything. We'll do 220 knots. I'll leave it at flaps 1. It's only the slats for now. That's fine. So we're back in a sort of normal position. Good. So we would do the after takeoff checklist, if we have such a thing. So AP bleed not required. AP master not required. Engine start norm. TCAS. No, that's not quite the right one. Okay, these are more sort of procedures than checklists. These are quite long. This is actually enough that you could do this, and it will give you a good place to sort of it will guide you through what you need to do. So they're quite complete checklists, but they're not quite what airlines would have. You wouldn't have long ones like this for the descent checklist. The reason is airlines assume you've done a lot of these things in your flow. Anyway, so we're going to stay on QNH. The gear is up. Flaps are staying at 1. Oh, GPOS terrain detect fault. Master caution. So speed out heading. We're 3,000 feet. So remember, we have failures turned on, and there we go. There's our first failure of the day. So it has got upset with the terrain detection. So speed out heading, we're turning downwind, we're above MSA at 3,000 feet, so we're in a safe position. So let's have a look at this. Nav, GPWS terrain detect fault. So what does that mean is wrong? It doesn't mean the aeroplane doesn't know where it is. We have good navigation, we still have our GPS, it's just the terrain part of that. So it doesn't have the full look ahead option. It means if I go to terrain on here, I won't get a map. Now this is quite a big topic actually recently, because of course with all the GPS jamming going on in the world, so it's quite interesting to see it. But there we go, GPWS terrain off. We're going to turn it off so it doesn't give us spurious warnings or anything like that. So that goes off. Status, so we'll stop there. Everything is the same, and we can't fix that or reset it, so that's fine. Let's just carry on. In op systems, green electric pump. What happened there? Did I turn that off? Didn't know that. Anyway, green electric pump has failed. It obviously is so unimportant the aircraft hasn't deemed to give us a warning about it. There's so many other systems. How interesting. And GPWS terrain. So we've had 2 failures in this flight. I must have missed that status message at some point. If I look at hide, yeah, doesn't matter. Electric pump's not in use. What if I turn it on? There we go, on, and we get a fault, and then it would tell us it does not work, electric pump. How interesting. You can indeed do a safe situational approach. I will do that on this approach. So we'll close that up. So there we go, 2 failures. The green electric pump doesn't affect us. We've still got full hydraulics. The GPWS terrain just means we won't get a look ahead terrain warning. We'll still get things like pull up if we sink too close to the ground, because that comes from radio altimeter reading the terrain beneath us. But GPWS terrain like this, my understanding, if this is similar to the Boeing, is that this is looking ahead, and that's why it's upset. Hence we won't get it on here. I'm surprised it's not in amber actually on here, unless I'm misinterpreting what that's telling us. But there we go. So let's continue with our flights. We can do a little hat, so we have the flight plan tuned. Radnav, India Alpha Alpha, Heathrow 9 left. Performance page is still set. Let's activate the approach. Fuel, we've still got plenty of fuel. We've got 18 tons, it's more than enough. Secondary's fine. So we're in a good place. That means you would do probably a reassuring PA to the passengers at some point. And let's bring ourselves in for a second approach. So 3,000 feet is above MSA. And I'll bring us around towards CF09 left. 220 knots, pretty reasonable. Let's do direct. Let's try and force the airplane LNAV to work for us. Insert. Nav. Glide slope coming into view. Nove says, Captain Nick over at the Airline Pilot Guy podcast just retired from Virgin a few years ago. He said this was his favourite plane he flew there because of how graceful yet powerful it was. There you go. There's an answer for you. I can see that it is a powerful machine, and I think a lot of pilots would like 4 engines. Why wouldn't you? I'm going to manage the speed now. Go back to S speeds. Awesome. So we'll get on to final, and then I'll do a little situation save there as well. Should really... you disarm the spoilers normally when... I'll just disarm them now. You'd have disarmed them when the flaps came up to 0, but there we go. Baddock says, what kind of range can we expect? That's a great question. I wrote that down for my previous video on this aircraft, and now I can't find that information. Sorry. It will be lower than the range on the 340-300 because, of course, it's a bigger, heavier airplane with more engines. Bigger engines, so it does burn more fuel. Where do I have the range? 8,000 nautical miles. There you go. I mean, that's long enough, isn't it? Long enough to sit on an aeroplane. Okay, I'm going to put 2,500 in the window. I'm going to arm the approach, the second order pilots. 210 knots, so let's just slow it down. You've got to reconfigure your mind with these aircraft. It's not an A320, so flaps 2. And you notice we're also only 10 miles out, so we do need to slow down. The glide slope's coming in shortly. There's glide slope. Put in the going altitude of 3,000 feet. 190 knots now at 9 miles, but decelerating, so that's good. But it only goes to 180 flap 2. That's also interesting to me. Quite limited on the speeds with just flap 2. So let's try flap 3. Yes, that's good. So the flap 3 is quite a big step then from 2. It provides a lot of extra buffer. Doesn't look like much flaps, you see there. I think this airplane needed slightly bigger flaps, really. Like a 787. $180 knots, 7 miles. Okay, it's running away a little bit. Gear down, even with flap 3. It just doesn't provide much drag. That's what we're learning here. So gear down, arm those, put the runway turn-offs, they're on already, and the nose lights. Yeah, look, no terrain picture at all. How funny. Nice. It's nice to have that sort of dynamic feature. I often turn them off on streams though. I would bing bang the cabin crew, and we'll go for flaps full, and we should get Landing no blue, all throttles in speeds. We're in a good place. Wikipedia says it has more fuel capacity than the Dash 300, so higher range. There you go. Because 8,000 miles is a pretty good range actually, so that would make sense then. So what I'll just do is go to situation. E G L L stream. Final. So that's ready to go, and I will hit save as we're a bit lower down. But this is good stuff. So landing like we did practiced earlier, by 40 feet if all's going well, but a proper flare needed. So let's do save. That's in. Replay's running already automatically. See Pappy's on 2 runways, but that's the one we're aiming for. It's getting gloomy. Now I'm going to complain that my lights are too bright. Ooh. Lights are too bright for landing. There you go. Excuses in. It's only 1,040 feet. I have spare room to complain without excuses for landing. Bring down these a little bit as well. Okay, we're all ready to go. Autopilot off. Just want to show you. Yes, 100 is 100 times the normal rate. Exactly, Ronald. Exactly. Auto brake is set to 2. And I've not touched the side stick. This is ToLiss's fly-by-wire system doing what it does best and just behaving like it should. And now just some small adjustments needed as we get a little bit closer. So 40 feet for a proper flare. There's the pitch limit indicator. It's actually lower than 10 degrees. Look at that. It's 7.5 it wants. It must have been so satisfying to land this airplane. It's just so weird and long. With all those landing gear. Yeah, we're coming in pretty fast. It's getting a little high.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard,
idle.
5.
Just holding it. There's touchdown. Reverse, almost full backstick there. Just holding that nose off. The nose does drop if you've got a high auto brake setting. I'll be curious on the replay to see quite how high the nose got there. Manual brakes. Idle reverse. And I think we can actually taxi it in. I'm not sure why my brakes aren't taking over, so I'm going to disarm them myself. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do there. But welcome down to Heathrow. 35 was it? Yeah, a bit of a float, but that it does. We get rewarded in the. Come on, there we go. We get rewarded with the replay software, the overlay. So I'm going to just take it off the runway and we'll go and park it up. And I think we can run the full after landing flow because we have the full replay. And I reckon we can then do what we want. We can have another go at landing. We can try all sorts of things. So, fill on the right. Oh, well, we can complain at our co-pilot for not doing that. Get the speed right, down to 10 knots. Get the taxi camera up. Okay, and there we go. Taking it to the right, nice and gently. Although, I think this will probably annoy Heathrow a little bit this slowly. And yeah, full replay incoming. Don't you worry. It will come to 2020. I have used this in Flight Simulator 2020. Yep. Yeah, over-rigged that turn a little bit. Yeah, we would not be popular driving around at this speed. Let's get ourselves out of the way. Where should we park? Let's find a stand. A350 over there. Be curious to see how this compares in size. Let's make a right turn. Let's go and see that. So you've got to keep that speed under control. 10 knots is very much a maximum. Do we have the line? No, it's annoying that the yellow lines don't seem to show up on this camera very easily. You can start to see the lights though are showing up on this one. You can see the taxi lights. So, disarm the ground spoilers. Flaps up. That's all good. Radar can go off. Put your windshield off. Transponder can go to standby. Start the APU. And let's find the stand. So there we go, size comparison. 350, 900, so the slightly shorter one. 340-600. But the 350 is called an extra wide fuselage, extra wide body, because it's not as big as a 777, the fuselage, but it is bigger than this thing. I think we'll park on the right of this 350-1000. There we go. That would be good. Yeah, I hope we get a camera of some variety, because it is great. Even if it's not perfect, it is. It's good. If I get ourselves right on the centre line, let's see. Does it work? Does it line up? There we go. Yeah, this one does, and you can see it. It's just quite blurry. This one here. Now, let's get rid of that window. And we'll park on this stand. So APU's on the way. Take all the lights. That's what I should have done. The lights should be off. Look at that lights. The lighting on those windows. That's nice as well. Very impressed. Oh, possible slight undercut there. We're going to be slightly right, yeah. Will we even fit? Now also, you don't look at the camera for stopping. The marshaller does that for you, because you don't know what line you're aiming for. And in these long aeroplanes, it's amazing how far forward you'll have to go. So even there, yes, that would be about right. We are on stand. Look at that. Actually get to park on stand for once. Parking brake set. AV is available. Now, I won't shut down because I think having the engines running is good for the situation safe, but there we go. So, welcome back to London. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and what we can do now is, if you leave a like on the way out, that'd be really appreciated. But we can go and have another actually, let's go look at the landing. So let's go down to replay mode. And look at this. Look at this. Play. Flaps are at full again. You know, it's just so fantastic. Forwards. Even to have the skipping forward part of it. Play. Into the flare. See the wings flexing. Now this was a serious flare. You can see I've got the nose right up there. And there's touchdown. Right, now I've got the camera in the right place. Let's just watch that again. So a little bit of a float, but it, like I say, rewards with the... I love that the nose is still in the air all that time. It's so hard to even see that we are not already on the ground. There you go, main gear, set 1, and then the internal gear. Yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent. And what we can do, instead of just enjoying our landing over and over again, which is very fun, so I might do it once more, because I wanted to see, what I wanted to see was what pitch we got to on landing there. Ah, no, that's interesting. I can't change the screen now because I had it set to that. There you go, learning new things. So let's just check this one. What pitch did we reach?
50, 40, 30, 20,
because remember the limiter is on about 7.5, so we were at 5, holding it at 5. 5's where I stopped. Okay. And you'll see, does the side stick move as well, out of interest? No, the side stick does not move. Interesting. But yeah, if we go outside, I want to show you the what I had to do with the elevator. I love that. All of this is in the on the ground, and then this is in the air. So Let's see if the elevator shows up. There we go, there's the flare. First flare. Holding it. Holding it. Mains, which is facing forward, and then watch the elevator here. Have to like give it a lot of that elevator to hold it up from those auto brakes. Good. Very nice indeed. So what we can do now is exit replay mode. It does this sort of a wobble as it goes back on stand, which I can understand. And I'm going to go to EGLL stream final load. And there's also config load, by the way, so you can load in how the airplane was set up. Anyway, speed, glide slope, lock, cat 3 dual AP1+2. We are now flying, so make sure I have all my hardware in the right place. You should check that before you move this around, as you would do in the real aircraft. And then what I'm going to do is go to aircraft sim control, freeze all, and then I'm going to go to the weather, custom, and you've got all of their presets. But what I want to do is I'm going to change the wind on the ground. It's currently easterly, so let's put it northerly, 20 knots. And the gusts, northerly, 8 knots. No, I don't understand who came up with this system. I can't stand it. Let's just put a steady 20 knot wind in, just for a bit of a crosswind. And now, let's just check that that's not anything too silly. No. Okay. So if I now release the aircraft, I'm hoping. Speed. I might have pushed it too far here, because the wind is it should be from the left at 20 knots, but it's 53 knots. Anyway, we're getting a crosswind landing now. Parking brake needs to be off as well. There we go. And you see that you can now practice crosswind landing. And it's actually done, the autopilot is very robust. It's done an incredible job. So it's 37 knots at the moment. It's going to reduce down to 20 knots. One thing to remember in these super long aircraft for landing, because I fly the 777-300, which is a similar length to this, is that you need to put the cockpit upwind. You can't put it on the centre line like you do in the 320, because when we apply that rudder and the nose comes round, you want the centre of the airplane to be on the centre of the runway. So there is a risk of that not working. Now, I haven't tried this in this aircraft, so let me give it a go. Autopilot off. 40 knots now. That's a lot. So let's keep ourselves upwind. This might not be a smooth landing. Keeping it on the left of the runway. 40. Rudder. Idle. Wings level. Touchdown. Oh, keep the wings level. Need into wind aileron. And we're down. I've not tried that before on this aircraft. I'll be curious to see the replay on that one. Now, the Airbuses don't typically need into wind aileron, but this one clearly needed a bit. They're big wings, and they do flex upwards. Yeah, the autopilot did very well there. So let's go to replay. Replay mode. Yeah, look at that. Even with like some glitches and things, it can still recover itself. So I don't think this is going to look very pretty. That was too much. Whoa. There we go. That was on the limits. 40 knots. It's supposed to only be 20. Right, let's go back in and press play. So this is my first try. I think I squeezed too much rudder off, and you'll see why. So we're coming in. This is the most critical angle to look at because it will show us what happens. Into the flare, right rudder, and you'll see that we were just too far to the left, and then I went too far to the right. Touchdown was fine, and then the wing lifted. And I'm putting in aileron. You can see that aileron came down, but you don't want that wing to lift like that. We did all right. We didn't scrape an engine, but yeah. I wasn't ready for the wing to lift quite that much. On the Boeings, it's normal. On the Airbus, I'm not used to it, but there we go. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's leave replay mode. Oh. So let's do one last landing. so we can have a little replay for the end of the stream, I think. EGL stream final. Or, I know what we'll do. Let's go to Gatwick and do a landing there, just to show you how powerful this feature is. So we haven't loaded at Gatwick, looked at it at all. EGKK final. Load. Look at this.
500, 400, 300,
Now. Oh, look, there's the wind shear warning. Excellent. That's because the weather has not transferred over. So there's something to be aware of. So if I go to sim control, freeze all. And this is true in commercial level simulators as well. Let's go back to live weather. Let it load in. Unfreeze. EGKK final. Load. And you'll see I'm not being gentle. I'm not giving it much time. It doesn't like the tailwind. That's why it's giving us a speed call. But it's recovering. And here we are. On Gatwick final approach. So let's do Heathrow just because it's a bit of a longer final. And I can get more of a replay out of it for you all. And we'll do a normal landing now. So let me just check everything's in the right place. We're in live weather. Good. Right, last time. I keep enjoying landing this thing, so I must stop playing around now.
1000.
Laura B says, I always found loading the scenario 2 or 3 times got the weather and thrust to sort itself out back in it. Yes, I'm not sure it does the weather. I have not tried that. I will have a go later on, see if it does it. Right, autopilot off. On pilot approach. That guy, thank you so much for the 70s Arts super chats. Really appreciated. That guy says, your passion for aviation inspired me to study engineering in the best university in my country. Wow. You've kept my love for flying alive and made learning about mechanics so exciting. Thank you. You're very welcome. That's incredibly kind. Thank you for supporting the channel, and what a great thing to hear. Thank you so much for coming along and sharing that with us. Thank you for your support. Really, really appreciate it. What a great, yeah, what a great thing. Amazing. Right, light headwind from the right this time, so let's have one last go for today.
200. Minimum.
Yeah, this is quite an awkward airplane in a big crosswind, I think, without some practice. Don't dive at the runway.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Idle.
Retard, 10, 5.
As it's settling, reverse it out. Yeah, see, it becomes very predictable and repeatable once you have a bit of time with it. Just don't be fooled, it's not a 320. Okay. Now I still can't get the auto brakes. Oh yes, they're disarmed today, so that's good. So I'll go manual brakes. Yes, my hardware was set to disarm. Forward idle. And we can taxi off the runway, and that'll just give us a chance to have something for the replay. But yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been an unusual one for me. Like I say, we don't normally do pre-release streams, as it were, on this channel. Normally I make a video, but I will try and get a video done as well. But I hope you've enjoyed seeing this aircraft and what it's capable of and what it's all about. And it will give you an idea if this is something you're interested in when it comes along. Yeah, you see what I mean about the wing flexing there. I think that's a little bit granular, perhaps. Not granular, choppy. No body steering either on this aircraft, none at all. Just the nose gear steers. Oh, look at that! Managed to get it on the taxiway just from just an exterior view. Not bad at all. You missed on a couple of streamlabs, don't it, said Swappy? Oh no! 340 friend, thank you so much. $11.62, great asset for learning more in flight simming. Really, really appreciate it. And Swappy, I'm so sorry. Swappy tipped $10. Thanks for everything as always. You are both very, very kind. I'm so sorry I missed those. Yeah, a lot going on the stream today. So thank you so much for your support, both to 340 friend. I'm so sorry I missed it. I hope you see this. And Swappy for the $10 tip. Very, very kind. And great to have you back, Swappy. It's been really, really good. Swappy was obviously around on the channel a lot at the start. So thank you so much for coming along. Thank you for those kind donations. Really appreciate it. Right. Let's have a look. Let's put this back out on approach. Okay. So here we are. And it is time to say thank you very much. So thank you all for coming along for the stream. I really, really appreciate having you all here and chatting. Thank you, of course, for those very kind super chats and donations. I really, really appreciate the support as well. Thank you to the moderators for looking after us and keeping us all safe here. Thank you for everyone watching. Thank you for those of you who've chatted and those of you who've just watched along. Really appreciate all of you. Please do leave a like on the way out if you've enjoyed the stream. Like I say, more videos to come. I'm going to hopefully get a quick start tutorial going for this one as well, closer to the time of release. So thank you all so much. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you again in another video or live stream soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.